boy. What's up? 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 Yeah. 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 What's up, dude? Let's see here. Did it work? Did it work? I have to put the chat back up for you. What's up, dude? We're just big chilling up over here, bro. It's giving me a different chizat, bro. It's not even showing all pretty Ricky right there, dude. Stream East having issues, dude. Oh no, she was right there, bro. She's there, bro. What's up, dude? What's up, dude? What's up, dude? Pretty Ricky, what's up? Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Let's go like this. Get over here. Let's get the chat back up in here. Let me see here. Hey, hey, hey. What's good, bro? What's goody? What's goody? What's goody? Who's up in here? If you're in here, say what's up, dude. It's Wednesday, bro. You dig the digs? You like the glasses, dude? Oak Tree 331. What's up, player? What's up, player? Do we have a doozy for you guys today? I hope every day I can bring a doozy every day. Really, that's the goal, bro. The goal is to bring a doozy every day. To bring something that just bing, bong, bong, right to your soul. You know what I mean? Something that just impacts you deep into your core. Dang, I don't know if I've seen these people up in here. Mad Rabbit 7. What's up, dude? Hey, I appreciate you for jumping in the live, bro. Coming up on live and saying hello there. Love you guys, for real. Facebook, you guys are a little bit far behind. Who's up in here on Facebook? Who says we got 9 people on Facebook? What's up? What's up? Scruffmeister, Travel, Tarot, and Trippy Tips. What's good? Let me just scoot over a little bit. Let me get more up in here, bro, for Facebook. Let me get just a little bit more up in here for Facebook, bro. Dang, who's in here? Let's see. Dude, I got a banger opening mindful message for you guys, bro. Been working, been grinding. Anyways, cheerio, mate. Top of the morning to ya. Arbiter, Ober. What are you doing? What's up, Megan Reed? What's up, Happy D? What's up, Kimberly? What's up, dude? Who we got up in here? Hey, I'm just gonna say it straight to you guys on YouTube, bro. I mean, on Facebook. You guys should just really come chill on at least the YouTube, bro. I'm on Twitch as well. Here's the link, bro. I hit the 1,000 subs. Now I gotta hit 3,000 hours watch time before I can get monetization. We got 3 people on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, say what's goody in the hoodie. If you're up here on Twitch, what's up, dude? How's it going? How's it hanging? What's up, motherfucker? We got 10 people up. Dang, 10 people up in here. What's up on fucking YouTube, dude? Oh, I mean on Facebook, sorry. I know, clips. Today I'm actually gonna, after work today, I'm actually gonna be getting some monitors and getting the shit set up better, bro. I just haven't been able to do it that well. I need to clear up some space on my computer so that I can record the whole thing, or I'll just click record once we get to that part. That's a good idea. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin, I don't know what I would do without you, bro. No homo, bro. Like dead ass, bro. Dead ass. You like the digs, huh? Thank you, Scruffmeister. I appreciate you. JD, what's up? Who's over here on freaking Facebook, bro? Who's on Facebook, bro? You guys ready for this freaking mindful message, homie? You ready for today's opener? Look at those locks. Damn, dude. Look at those dreads, homie. Shit, boy. Oh, Scruffmeister. She was just correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe I'm assuming. I can never tell the gender through names. So if I say you're a dude or like, oh, I think that's a girl, I'm sorry, bro. I can't ever tell unless it's like, obviously it's like Megan or Ashley, Janice. You know what I'm saying? Then I can probably credibly assume. I appreciate you. I knew my assumptions, my intuition was right, Scruff. I knew it. I didn't just fucking chop it up and got it. All right, you guys like the new digs? Oh, check out the little alien. Oh, Facebook can't see the alien. It's right here, Facebook. There's the alien, bro. Oh, did you see the old sign up here? Oh yeah, like just be a nice human. That's literally all my whole fucking page is all about, is just be a nice human. If you go back, oh, I'm gonna show you this. My son gave me this for Father's Day, early Father's Day. Do y'all know what fugglers are? Where's all my fuggler fans at, bro? Where's my fuggler fans, bro? My son this is his. It's a Lego. He likes Legos. But something about one of my sons is that he loves to give his stuff away. Like he collects lots and lots of stuff, and then he likes to give his stuff to people as gifts. And so he gave me this for Father's Day. It's a little Lego fuggler, bro. You know what I'm saying? A little fuggler, dude. Cool ass little thing. And this is where, if you know, you know, but we got the homunculi, little homunculus up in the back of the stream too. You know what I'm saying? Always watching, Wazowski. All right. Here we go. Everything, dang, we got like 20 people. I appreciate it. The shirt's sick, huh? We got 20 people on Facebook, bro. It's been a long time. If you're on Facebook, bro, I love you. I've been shadow banned on Facebook for a long time, bro, and I just really appreciate you even being here. If you all could just smash the like button a bunch of times whenever you resonate or feel compelled to, for as long as you're here on the stream. And then if you could maybe share it to your page if you also resonate. But give me a second for this opening message before any of you leave. Just give me like 5 to 10 minutes to just try and do my best to what I always do on every stream, is actually just give you something you can take away. Something that is more than just like Epstein or fucking the Iran war, AI cults. It's like something that your soul can vibrate with, and that it's something that actually, hopefully, my intent is for it to be positive and for it to even just change how you perceive the world, even just 1 degree, bro. Just plant a seed in your head that causes you to ask more questions, no matter even if it's applicable to what I said that planted the seed. If you're here on the live stream now, just so you know, maybe you already do know, is I record these clips of the mindful message, and then I cut them up and overlay pictures and all that jazz, and then I post them on social media, and then they also get posted on my YouTube at Tripoverdrip as like a short form. I'm working on making like 20-minute, 30-minute videos. So if you are interested in doing that, you could just put in, if you're interested in helping me come up with ideas for 20 to 30-minute videos, maybe want to be involved even in just the idea processing of all of it, please just send me a link or a DM on Instagram. And if you are curious and don't have the link to Instagram, to Discord, I'll drop the link to Discord right now. Real quick, before we do the mindful message, I'll drop the link to join our Discord. If we got a big community over on Discord, about 200, almost 250, 300 people. If you wanted to join the Discord, we would love to have you. We have so many different chats. Yeah. But that's where, if you want to become a part of like helping me come up with ideas, even maybe researching some YouTube videos that we could work together collectively to make those videos. Make sure you join the YouTube the Discord. I'm all over the place today. Why do I keep messing up my words, bro? Join the Discord, bro. DM me on Discord, bro. DM me on the Discord. All right, where were we? Oh yeah, we're about to give you some oomph. Give you some oomph. You know what I'm saying? Here we go. I don't know. I've reached out to Astro Strange a bunch, babe, actually. I reached out to him a bunch. He hasn't freaking reached back out to me. All right. Here we go. Cheers. I'd be willing to bet that there's only two kinds of people watching this right now. The ones who treat anxiety, overthinking, and burnout as their personality, and then the ones who quietly decide, no, that's not who I am. That's just what my nervous system has been trained to do. If you're the second one, the one who believes you're more than your stress, stay here, because I'm going to walk you through 3 ways to ground yourself back to the collective, back to the earth, and then inevitably back to your own frequency. Under all the noise, you're basically a walking broadcast tower. You're a signal, like mind, body, and soul, consistently sending and receiving energy, stories, and emotion, dude. But most days, me included, that signal tends to get scrambled. One part of you is replaying yesterday. One part of you is repeatedly rehearsing what's going to happen tomorrow. Your body is in the chair, but your head is 10 tabs deep in a reality that isn't even happening yet, or has already happened. So like I said, to start this stream, before we go anywhere wild, I want to do what I always do and give you something that you can take with you even if you never come back. And today, it's 3 simple grounding moves. One that plugs you back into the collective, like the fact that you're not doing this alone. One that plugs you back into the earth, like the fact that you're literally being held up right now. And then one that plugs you back into your own frequency, your mind, your body, and your soul, and the version of you that remembers who you are. If you're already here and ready to tune in back to the frequency that you belong to, you can just type back on frequency in the comments so you remember exactly when you called your baseline frequency back home. Now, number 1, I said it was going to be back to the collective. The first one is really simple, bro. Remembering you're not the only antenna on this planet. Right now, there are millions of nervous systems feeling some version of what you feel. You're not the only person overthinking a text. You're not the only person that's worried about money. You're not the only person wondering if you're ever going to feel like yourself again. We forget that. We forget that because we only see the highlight reels and hot takes. We see everyone's armor, never their nervous system. So the first grounding practice to bring you back to the collective is something that I call the human field check. Think of one thing that's just been heavy on your mind lately. Close your eyes for one slow inhale. On the exhale, imagine zooming the camera out from your body to the city to the whole planet. And then at the end of that, just say, millions of humans have felt this. You can add I'm not the only one carrying this frequency. That's it. I told you it was simple. No affirmations that you don't believe. No spiritual cartwheels. Just one truth. Whatever you're feeling, a crowd of people feel too. And if you want to take it deeper, you can add just one micro ritual. You could also just bring your hand to your chest and one hand to your stomach. And you can just say out loud, to everyone feeling this today with me, may we get what we need. Ooh, shit, bars. If you don't You don't have to know their names, bro. You don't even have to know their stories. You just have to remember that quantum physics says that our particles are entangled and that you're a part of a much bigger organism. Grounding back into the collective is just like this. It's remembering I am one note in a massive choir, not a broken instrument in an empty room. When you stop isolating your pain, your nervous system doesn't have to white knuckle it anymore. Now, grounding back to the earth, number 2. Here's your second move. Get out of your head and back into the planet that's literally holding you up right now. Most of us live from the neck up. We treat our bodies like forklifts that move our brains from obligation to obligation. But your body is not just the vehicle, bro. It's your anchor, and it's plugged into the planet. There's an actual practice for this called earthing or grounding. It's basically just your bare skin directly touching the ground, bro. Grass, soil, sand, concrete, it's all connected to the earth. Earth research suggests that it lowers cortisol, which is your stress hormone. It calms the autonomic nervous system. It will improve your sleep, also reduce your pain and inflammation. And inflammation is like the number 1 root cause of all disease. Do we need more studies on this? Yes. Is it really that complicated though? Not really, bro. All you really have to do, and you can do this like every single day, is literally go touch the part of your body which is called your soul on the bottom of your feet to the earth for like 5 to 10 minutes. Grass, dirt, outdoor concrete patio, it's still all intact with the ground, like I said. And then while you're standing there, you don't have to do anything that's impressive. You really don't have to do any breath work. There's not a requirement for any mantra or affirmation. You just have to be aware. And to be aware, you have to be present. Just notice the temperature of the ground or how much your body feels like it's weighing towards the ground. The simple fact that you're being held up without even asking. The smell of actual oxygen. And then you can also just quietly say, I give back what I don't need, and I just receive what I do. Think of it like plugging your nervous system into a giant charger that's actually been there your whole entire life. If you can't go outside though, you can still ground into the earth sensory style. Just put both feet flat on the floor, push your heels down just enough to feel that your calves engage, and then notice the points of contact, heels, balls of your feet, toes, and then scan, seat, back, whatever is supporting you. You could say to yourself right now, the earth is underneath all of this, because it is. It's under the floor, it's under the foundations, it's under the street. There is no ground. And you are connected to it whether you remember it or not. We've talked a lot about grounding, like it's some mystical personality trait. Half the time, it's literally just remembering that you have a body that is touching a world that doesn't hate you. The earth has held every version of you. The you that messed up, the you that won, the you that still hasn't figured it out, and it never dropped you once. Now, if we go into number 3, to get back to your own frequency. So the third move is simple, bro. Just come back to your signal. Not the version of you that your family scripted. Not the persona that the internet rewards. Not the mask that you wear just to keep the peace. Your frequency is who you are when you're not performing for anybody. So here's the practice. Just take a snapshot of the real you. Think of a moment. It can be any moment where you felt like that was actually me. It could be you laughed so hard one time that you cried. It could be locked into something creative and you just completely lost track of time. It could be helping someone with zero need for any credit. And let yourself just replay that in your head for 5 to 10 seconds. Pay attention to what your body does when you do this. Does your jaw soften? Does your breath drop lower? Do your shoulders drop even just a little bit? Whatever that shift is, that's your nervous system remembering your home frequency. Now just ask yourself gently right now, what would one small thing today that moves me, what is one small thing today that moves me 1% closer to the version I want to be? You don't have to fucking overwhelm yourself. It's not like a life overhaul. Just 1%. Text the person you always feel like yourself around. Spend 10 minutes on the thing that makes you lose track of time. Say one honest sentence that you've been swallowing and keeping in. You can also just use like a quick body check, bro. Before you say yes to something, ask yourself, bro, does this tighten or soften my body? Tighten doesn't always mean bad though. And soften doesn't always mean easy. But your body will tell you a lot about whether something is aligned with your frequency or it's not, dude. Your mind, body, and soul are not 3 separate apps. They're one system trying to run the same program, your actual life. Grounding back into your frequency is not about becoming some flawless spiritual being. It's just about turning down the static long enough for you to recognize your own voice again. And then letting that voice have a say, have a vote, be heard. So when we ground into the collective, we remember that we're not alone. When we ground into the earth, so we remember that we're held. We ground into our own frequency, so we remember who is actually living this life. And if all of that even landed for just a second, bro, if you felt your shoulders drop, if you felt your breath slow down, if you felt your brain stop sprinting for just 1 second, let's mark this celebration and drop I choose Team Human in the comments. Not because you're anti-future, anti-tech, but because you're just pro-you. You're pro-nervous system. You're pro-soul. You're pro-real life right here, right now. And if you've made it all the way here, I just need you to hear this. You've probably been on Team Human your whole life and just didn't even have a name for it. If you have ever chosen honesty over image, presence over performance, or real connection over anything, over any cheap dopamine hit, then you've already been carrying the frequency we're building around here. You're not the only one trying to stay human in a world that keeps pulling you out of your own body. There are more of us, bro, quietly doing this work. There are more of us quietly doing this work than you think. Grounding ourselves, taking care of our nervous system, trying to leave this place a little softer than we found it. So if something in you felt like this could be a home base, consider this your invitation. Not to join some club or something you're going to brag about. Just to realize that you're not the only human doing this, bro. You're not alone. You've been on Team Human this entire time, and you just found the rest of us, bro. I love you, bro. Ooh! Damn, homie. I thought you was the man, homie. Shout out 50 Cent. All right, let me get the chat back up in here so you guys can see each other talking from YouTube to Twitch. I just take that off because it's a little bit less distracting when I record the mindful message, bro. All right. Do we got some shit to go over today, homie? We're going to go over some clips like we always do. I love you, Scotty Wheel. Like I said, I always just try to give you guys some fucking meat, some spiritual meat that you can just fucking eat and your soul feels satiated when you walk through the next day just knowing that fucking humanity is going to survive. You know what I'm saying, bro? You know what I'm fucking saying, homie? Huh, homie? Yeah, if you haven't realized yet, I'm a complete fucking weirdo. I'm autistic, and so I have lots of weird fucking stims. I'm weird, bro. I'm just weird, bro. I'm just weird, bro. If you're a weirdo, you could just type weirdo in the chat. You know, maybe physically type it in the chat so that spiritually I can get the affirmation to know I'm not the only weirdo, bro. I need a grown up, bro. Just kidding. All right, I got some cool shit I want to show you. This one is the first one, bro. I'm obsessed with aliens, homie. So, oh shit, we got it going. We got it going on. Just move that up for y'all to see. Oh, that's where you can just check out all my little channels right there, bro. Cool, cool, cool. Up on top right there. All right, here we are. This is a crazy ass video. Breaking from Truth Poll. A mass sighting unfolded in Brazil on June 16th. 2026, around 10:45 p.m. with multiple bright orbs or lights visible in the night sky above the city. Footage captured from a residential window shows several distinct points of light against the dark backdrop with urban lights visible below. Witnesses report the objects appearing in a scattered or loosely patterned formation. Look at this shit, boy! What the fuck is that, bro? What the fuck is that, bro? Crazy, bro. Look at all those lights. Yeah, you think those are satellites, dude? This looks pretty real to me, bro. Does this shit look real to you? It's crazy, man. We are not alone. All right. Oh, I just wanted to pull this up. Peter Thiel's just a great guy. Leak exposes members of Peter Thiel's secret dialogue society. More than 200 of the world's satanic pedophiles registered for a retreat whose agenda runs from panels on cult building and sex to prepping for World War III. Shout out Julian Dory, friend of the show. Friend of the show. You know who Julian Dory is? Go check out Julian Dory. I love Julian Dory. He's a great guy. He talks about a lot of things people are scared to talk about, bro. A lot of shit people are scared to talk about. Scared to talk about. All right. Breaking news. Hey, you know that fucking loser Cash App Patel? Yeah, he's been accused of creating $1 million plus slush fund using taxpayer money to reward loyal FBI agents who have covered up his drinking and his misconduct. According to the letter from Congressman Jamie Raskin, FBI Director Kash Patel has been accused of using over $1 million in taxpayer funds to hand out side payments and bonuses to a hand-picked group of agents, including those on his personal security detail and his so-called director's advisory team, just kidding. Okay, if we didn't know fucking Kash Patel was a loser as soon as he said that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself and that there are no credible witnesses that he trafficked these minors to anyone, we now know this now. It does make sense. If your fucking girlfriend is a country singing sensation, bro, speculatively, she's, as Candace Owens says, she's like running the FBI rapid response profile on X. That's not anything that I can say is factual. I'm just making a facetious joke about his country star sensation. But now it seems to be that he's just paid all of his homies to not talk about probably Epstein as well, too, because as soon as he went in there, I'm sure there's lots of talk of Epstein and what's happening around Epstein in the FBI. And he's definitely fucking gay.
The desire to create a slush fund to reward political loyalty.
So let's just hear what they have to say. Give a little bit of context, because I don't have the absolute all information regarding this.
The desire to create a slush fund to reward political loyalists doesn't appear to start and stop with Donald J. Trump. Shocking new reporting by MS Now's Ken Delanian finds that embattled FBI Director Kash Patel stands accused of using more than $1 million in taxpayer funds to reward the FBI agents who went after Patel's enemies and who covered up Kash Patel's misbehavior in office, weakening our nation's chief law enforcement agency in the process. Our Ken Delanian reports this about a letter that...
Faggot. Oh, yeah. I actually got, to be honest with you, I actually brought this little clip up right here. So just so you know, we're going to go through all these clips on X, and then we're going to end up going over and continuing what we were watching yesterday with the Mind Eater Part 2, or God Eater Part 2 by Chuck Swindoll Jr. But first of all, I just wanted to put this clip out here from Representative Randy Fine. Randy Fine. I wanted to come over here, okay, up into web, bro, and just check. Oh yeah, there you go. Illuminati families and their associates. I just like to keep this one up, you guys. We're just gonna pin this. I just like to show it to people. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people have seen this. We can take a quick gander for everybody who's up in here. This is from EFTA 01082667, which is oh, the chat today is not on gang, huh? Okay, well, let's go. Let's fix the chat then. Sorry about that. Thank you for letting me know what is going down in the love audio. Okay, and then we'll come right here. Beta. Okay, so look, we got the Disney bloodline, the Mormon leadership, McGovian, Rothschild, Rockefeller, Reynolds, Kennedy, Freeman, DuPont, Collins, Bundy, Astor. You can decipher that as you will. Like I said, if you want to look at it yourself, it's EFTA 01082667 in the Epstein files. We're not here for that. We're here for, is Randy Fine in the Epstein files? I've never looked. Let's just check. Representative Randy Fine. Okay. It does say that State Senator Randy Fine, who has been a prominent political figure, particularly on education and Israel-related issues, does not appear in any of the Epstein documents. All right, just making sure, just checking, because you're going to be, I just was curious, oh, there it is, curious what you think based off of what he's about to say.
Enemies are our enemies. I often say Israel's enemies are our enemies. I often say the reason they hate Israel because Israel is small and Israel is close to where they are. And so I believe standing with Israel stands with a country that largely shares the same values that we do. Does that mean
What? I don't have any sort of close values about just genociding Palestine. What the fuck are you talking about, bro?
I think we should put the interests of America over Israel? No, but I haven't seen an instance
Did
where
you say,
that
does
is
that
the case.
mean we should put the interest of America over Israel? No?
No, does that mean we should put the interest of Israel over America?
Okay, I want to make sure.
All right, if I
Yeah.
missed it, I apologize. But no, we should not. But I have yet to see an instance where standing with Israel is not a good thing for the United States as well.
What do you think? Do you think that standing with Israel, just murdering women and children and killing civilians, has been beneficial for America? Or how about we fucking went to war with Iran, and before the war, the Strait of Hormuz was open, and then we went to war and they closed the Strait of Hormuz, and now there's talks of like we are going to have to pay $300 billion to help rebuild Iran after we bombed them, and we didn't even want to bomb them. So like the American people are just getting fucked, like on both sides. We didn't want the war. We did start the war. We felt the fucking weight of the economy as the Strait of Hormuz and this war proceeded for months and months and months. And now that they've like got a peace deal, now they're saying like, oh, you guys are going to pay for all the damage we've done. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Stop paying taxes.
It is also.
Check out this fucking fag. Sorry, that's not hate speech. I didn't mean that. I apologize. I don't mean that towards anybody. Sorry. I just don't like this person, Mike Huckabee, the U.S. ambassador to freaking Israel. You guys ready to hear what this dude has to say?
This is just another reminder that it is your heritage, without a doubt. But, Minister, it is also the heritage of the United States. Without Israel, without the Jewish foundation, there would not be an America. We owe our very existence to what happened in this land. This is just another reminder that it is your heritage.
Let's run that back.
Of the United States. Without Israel, without the Jewish foundation, there would not be an America. We owe our very existence to what happened in this land. This is just another.
What do you think, huh? America wouldn't even exist without Israel. Okay, so it would make sense to me that if there was a U.S. ambassador in a foreign country, that his job specifically, which is funded by the taxpayers, is to influence and, I guess, be the representative for the interests of the American people regarding the country that he finds himself in, correct?
You're on the right track. An ambassador is indeed the official representative of the U.S. government in another country. Their role is to represent U.S. interests, which includes engaging with the host country's government, promoting mutual understanding, protecting U.S. citizens abroad, and advocating for American values and policies. They don't act independently. They carry out U.S. foreign policy as directed by the President and the State Department, all funded through taxpayer dollars.
Okay, so if there was a representative that went over to a foreign country, and then after, let's say, 10, 20 years of him being the U.S. ambassador in that foreign country, he started to align and do things and say things publicly that aligned with the other country instead of America's interest. What should us as citizens do then? That's not right, right?
It would make sense to feel concerned if you believe an ambassador isn't representing U.S. interests. In that situation, citizens have options. You can contact your elected representatives to express your concerns.
Contact your representative. Yeah, right. The reason the country probably is where it is actually because we have been brainwashed to think that the local elections don't matter, and they've been just corrupted for so long that we're pretty much fucked everywhere in America. You know what I mean? We don't see any nice new schools being built, but they'll definitely, at least here in Utah, they're going to build a 40,000 acre data center that's going to completely destroy the place that I've resided at for majority of my 38 years on rotating around the sun. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit, we got some peeps in here, bro. We got 8 on YouTube. We got 15 on Twitch. We got 9 people on Facebook. Thank you guys for real for being here, bro. Can y'all just put your favorite emotes in the chat? Just let me know so I can just see you commenting, so I can just get a mental head count, if that makes sense. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. Let's go. Motherfucking Menace. Becky, Queen Trips into his house. Marie Moon, what's up? What's up? Pretty Ricky, what's up? What's up? What's up? Scotty Will, what's up? What's up? Cobra Kai, what's up? What's up? What's up? Cobra Kai, Julia Brand, what's up? What's up? What's up? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Hell yeah. What's up, Angel Mars? Or Mraz? Angel Mraz. Ooh, 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 Becky, ooh, ooh. That's what I think every time that's what I hear in my head every time you comment these. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm a weird person, I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Check this out, bro. What's up, Texas? What's up, Texas? Lilia, what's up? Hell yeah. Okay, exposed. Former Turning Point insider goes off. I'm disgusted. TPUSA is still grifting off of Charlie Kirk's name and legacy. That's all I'm going to give you. Let's just hear homie talk, okay? You want to hear homie talk real fast?
You know what I'm sick and tired of? I'm sick and tired of this. So, I got these back-to-back weeks, by the way. Like, back-to-back weeks. So, let's read the first one. Dear friend, we are Charlie Kirk. That's the message thousands of Americans are carrying out, blah, blah, blah. And then it says, if you would like one of these wristbands, blah, 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 your gift would honor Charlie's legacy to fuel Turning Point USA's fight to protect the liberty of all our people. And then it gives you a thing to write a check and send money to them. So that's the first one. And then, dear Patriot, no one loved this nation, God, or the truth more than Charlie. This is Riley Gaines talking. So please return your signed pledge of support along with your most generous gift. Every dollar will help support our unprecedented growth and continue our campus tours, blah, blah, blah. Charlie gave everything he had to save our country, and we will too, blah, blah, blah. And then it gives you a thing to send money to them. So this is, by the way, I still have this up. I got that at the funeral. Like, I still wear this every day. So it's not about like Charlie and stuff. This is about this organization wanting more money from college students, of all people too, to fund what they're doing, their train wreck, basically what they're doing. Because no one likes Erica, bro. Whether you think she had foreknowledge or not, just surface level, no one likes her. She's not likable. She's not furthering Charlie's mission. She's extremely suspicious, and she's not a likable person. So the fact that in the AI video, they used AI to say, oh, I appoint my wife to Turning Point if anything happened to me. Totally AI. So the fact that they want money from us still after the millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars they made, especially right after his death, about Erica bragging about hat orders and stuff, it's just like, so Blake or Andrew or Erica, whoever sees this, I don't want these anymore, bro. Stop sending these to me. Back-to-back weeks, by the way. So, yeah, I quit for a reason, and it's because they're scammers. They want our money after all of this. So how about some transparency? How about all the videos you said, oh, we have so much pre-recorded stuff. We're so excited to show this stuff at Charlie. What about that, Erica? What about that stuff that you said on the podcast days after you got assassinated, after you were accepting being appointed CEO of a multi-million-dollar company? How about that? But we don't want. You guys don't want to talk about that. You don't want to talk about Tyler Robinson and the connections and keeping him quiet. You don't want to talk about all this stuff. So I'm disgusted, honestly. This isn't some like, oh my gosh, Mason, you're like complaining about. No. I'm disgusted to my stomach because I stand for that. I stand for this. I stand for Charlie's mission, and these people make me sick. Andrew Colvette, Blake Neff, Erica Kirk, Jack Posobiec, you all make me sick to my stomach.
Fuck yeah. I don't know. Okay, so can I just ask everybody, because everybody isn't the same as me. Everybody is different than me. Everyone has different perspectives, interests, likes, obsessions, etc. I'm obsessed with trying to learn as much as I possibly can. I'm doing my own research, and I'm not doing a lot of research into Charlie Kirk. There are certain voices that I listen to, and then I come up to my own conclusion. But if you guys been listening to Candace this week, bro, who has been listening to what Candace has been laying down this week, player? Holy fuck. It's been heavy, bro. It's been crazy. Okay. Let me bring in close for this one. Okay, so I'm doing a research paper, and I am just curious about the information regarding Israel putting, I can't remember what the actual explosive compound is that they put inside the pagers that they were attacking people in Lebanon. Can you please provide me context of what I'm trying to figure out?
Sure, here's the context. In September 2024, thousands of pagers used by Hezbollah operatives in Lebanon and parts of Syria exploded simultaneously. Experts and sources close to Hezbollah suggested that explosives were inserted into the devices, possibly during a delayed shipping process. Some reports mention metal balls placed around the pager batteries to increase fragmentation, while others suggest one of the two pager batteries was replaced with a hidden explosive device. The exact compound used hasn't been disclosed publicly, but the devices were modified to explode on command.
Thank you. Now, let's just look at this thing real quick. After there was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, which is weird because the guy that actually got shot and killed at Butler, Pennsylvania, was connected some way to this chemical or this compound or explosive that is found or allegedly in these pagers, which could, I don't know. You're going to have to figure it out yourself. But can you pull up an image of the golden pager Bibi gave to Trump? You're right, John. Just like Law Abiding Citizen. That movie is insane, bro. That movie is insane. But why in the fuck? I'm going to just say it. Why in the fuck would Bibi Netanyahu give this gift to President Trump? It says to President Donald J. Trump, our greatest friend and greatest ally, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Press with both hands. Oh, was that how the pagers in Lebanon blew up? Is that they had to press both of those buttons? And so it's just kind of like this weird, kind of dark gift that almost seems like a threat, if I'm being 100% honest with you. It's like a reminder of what they did, because Trump probably has access to more military stuff than than the common folk, you know what I'm saying? So he has probably access to information regarding exactly how these were made, especially now if the U.S. military and the Israeli military are like fucking docking on each other. Like, they're docking each other. Fucking gay. Crazy. Oh yeah. This was yesterday. Senator Raskin went to Senator Raskin went to the prison to visit with Ghislaine Maxwell. Let's just hear what he has to say.
Here today from both the Oversight and the Judiciary Committees, and I've been briefed by our entire team. I mean, really stunning what they have learned. One, to be very clear, this facility is being described as a community college. Trees, there's fountains, it's relaxed, people are walking around. They said it looks like a pristine park-like community college setting. This is the least of the entire Bureau of Prison system. This facility is essentially the least restrictive for movement. It is a minimum security facility, what Ghislaine Maxwell is at. And perhaps something that we didn't know before that might be the most interesting and damning at the same time is we asked the warden today about Ghislaine Maxwell being essentially sexual predator, being a sex offender. He mentioned to us that she is the only of the 600 plus women that are there. She is the only convicted sex offender at that facility. And he could not answer and does not know why she was actually moved there. So the warden, no idea why she's there, and the team there admitted that she's the only convicted sexual offender there. That is outrageous. This is a cover-up, and Todd Blanche should...
It's crazy, huh? It's crazy, huh? Can you please provide me factual information as much as you possibly can regarding the Ghislaine Maxwell sex trafficking conviction?
Sure, here's a detailed overview based on reputable sources. Ghislaine Maxwell, a former British socialite and associate of Jeffrey Epstein, was tried in federal court in New York and convicted in December 2021. The jury found her guilty of multiple charges related to the sexual exploitation of minors, including conspiracy to entice a minor to travel for illegal sexual activities conspiracy to transport a minor for criminal sexual behavior, sex trafficking of minors, and related conspiracy charges. The offenses took place between roughly 1994 and 2004, during which he coordinated and facilitated Epstein's sexual abuse of teenage girls. In 2022, Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison and fined $750,000. The sentencing judge, Allison Mathan, emphasized that while Epstein was central to the operation, Maxwell's own actions were heinous and predatory. Prosecutors argued that Epstein paid Maxwell around $30 million for her assistance. Despite her conviction, she has consistently denied wrongdoing and appealed the verdict. In September 2024, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit upheld her conviction. This summary reflects the factual public.
Didn't P. Diddy fucking get a sentence reduction?
Yes, Sean Diddy Combs has had multiple reductions to his projected release date from federal prison. He was convicted on 2 prostitution-related charges and sentenced to 50 months. Initially, his release date was set for June 4th, 2028, then moved to April 25th, 2028, then April 15th, 2028, and now it's listed as February 23rd, 2028. The reductions come from time served, participation in programs like drug rehabilitation.
Weird. Looks like he's getting out soon too, huh? Old Diddy back on the streets. What do you think's gonna happen when that fucking pedophile gets out, bro? What do you think's gonna happen, bro, when that raper gets out? You know what I mean? I mean, that's what he is, right? I mean, he's a raper. The baby oil with GHB inside of it. Allegedly. Allegedly. Oh, this was going to be a little good segue.
What I hear is that
Let's just wait for that. We're going to watch this little clip about Hollywood never touches this period of history. And then we're going to go do some little research about what's being talked about. And then we're going to get to this God Eaters Part 2. Chuck Swindoll Jr.
It was cool, but like I want to do the Americas.
Yes.
The Americas are so interesting
Yes.
because even before Columbus arrived, so interesting because it's one big mystery. We know quite a bit. We have really good archaeologists that have done a lot of great work on the Americas, and there's really good oral histories from the natives.
Did he just say Christopher Columbus, bro? He just said Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus is of Jewish ethnicity.
I understand you're curious about Christopher Columbus's background. There's some debate among historians about his origins, but let me check the latest reliable information to give you an accurate and objective overview. Please hold on a moment. There's a lot of debate about Christopher Columbus's origins. Traditional history says he was from Genoa, Italy, but some recent studies, including genetic research reported by outlets like the BBC and Times of Israel, suggest he may have been of Sephardic Jewish descent from Spain. Other historians point out that clues about Jewish heritage are circumstantial and not definitive. So, while some contemporary researchers believe he could have Jewish heritage, many historians still argue the evidence isn't solid enough to be certain.
Okay, regarding not regarding his ethnicity anymore. The thing that happened with Christopher Columbus when he came to America, can you please explain the situation of why he was leaving? I have heard that he was actually being kicked out of where he was at.
To what drove Columbus to set sail in 1492? Several key factors converged. He had spent years pitching the idea of reaching Asia by sailing west, hoping to find a new trade route. After being rejected by the Portuguese, he finally got backing from Spain's King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. He wasn't kicked out of Spain, but his departure coincided with the Alhambra Decree, the order expelling Jews who refused conversion to Christianity.
Wait, what did he just say? There was an order in Spain telling Jews that won't convert to Christianity that they have to leave, and then Christopher Columbus, a Jew, came and found America? Do you realize what we just heard? Not to mention they seem to just get kicked out of everywhere. Do your history research. They've just been kicked out and 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 kicked out. I feel a lot better now.
Because
Yes.
the Americas are so interesting
Yes.
because even before Columbus arrived, so interesting because it's one big mystery. We know quite a bit. We have really good archaeologists that have done a lot of great work on the Americas, and there's really good oral histories from the natives that are still here that have documented a lot of their customs. But there still is there's beyond the Maya and the Aztec, when you go up to North America, there's not any writing that we have to to see. So a lot of it's coming from oral traditions, from the descendants that are still there.
Real quick. I just have to point out something real fast. Let me just make sure and clarify with Perplexity again. We're talking to Perplexity a bunch today. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there were in North America, there were natives, and obviously in like Central America, Mayans and Aztecs and other indigenous peoples that lived in America. But before Christopher Columbus, there's evidence that the Vikings actually touched Northern America, specifically probably in Canada, before Christopher Columbus did, right?
You're right that indigenous peoples lived across North and Central America long before Europeans arrived. According to historians and archaeologists, the Vikings reached what is now Canada roughly 500 years before Columbus. The most concrete...
I'm just debunking Christopher Columbus today, bro. Because it's all been a psyop the whole fucking time, homie. And it was all started by the Jews.
And so there's a lot of mythology, you know, there's a lot of lore in the Americas that's still there, and a lot of mysteries, a lot of enigmas that are like still hard to explain with the Americas.
Ain't it crazy we don't think about the feet below us right here on the ground?
Right.
You know, and what...
Exactly.
You know, we live in this European history world because that's who charted it, but what about all the shit that didn't get charted before they found it?
Yeah, exactly. Like Manhattan was probably prime real estate to the natives.
Of course.
It's a great spot.
Incredible.
Like, you know, me and Luke talk about that quite a bit. Luke Havern's like, anytime you're looking at a beautiful spot somewhere, you know, out in nature somewhere, or maybe a good spot on the river, there's a good...
I'm telling you right now, bro. If you agree with me, you can just like put some sort of nature emoji in the chat, but being out of nature and getting away from all of the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and 5G radiation pounding on your skull and inside your brain and frequency, and just getting out where the frequency is just nature, there is something fucking just so magical about nature, bro. I think that's something that just like comes with age. Maybe not. Maybe there's the younger generation people that are like this too, but just the more and more you get out away from the city and into the actual wilderness and just the landscape of the earth, there is definitely an energetic disconnection that happens from the 5G radiation pounding on your fucking brain. You know what I'm saying? The Bluetooth, the fucking Wi-Fi. Think about all these frequencies that you can't even hear that are literally hitting your body or bouncing off of your body all of the time, bro. I just love nature, bro.
Somebody else thought that was a good spot too. Nice. You might find an arrowhead there. You might find something there, you know?
Yeah, like even like more recent stuff that you should care about a lot. New York was a ground zero spot, no pun intended on that, with the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
And like and I'm always thinking about that walking along the Hudson when I take...
Dude, I'm telling you that the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth and all of that stuff, it does something to our bodies at a molecular level and our brains and our frequencies and how our neurons fire inside of our head and shit. Don't quote me, do your own research, but I'm pretty sure I'm not speaking falsehoods.
Walks there and like, oh my God, they went from there to there and right there in Staten Island. Oh my God, that's where Washington escaped, and then he escaped up here. And by the way, West Point's an hour away. It's like, holy shit, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's amazing.
I grew up on the Arkansas River, and you know, I think even further back, like 12,000 years, when the hunter-gatherers were just slaughtering big mega fauna out there. You know, they found there's so many mammoth tusks just out there in like western Kansas, eastern Colorado that, you know, you could uncover, or probably were uncovered when agriculture came through.
Oh, bro, Cobra Kai, bro. I know what rainbow gatherings are, bro. Remember, we watched, it's not necessarily a rainbow gathering, but it's kind of like a rainbow gathering. Yesterday we watched the freaking Tales from the Trip Oliver Tree episode where he talks about going to Burning Man. You know what I mean? It's very similar. Very similar. I would like to just throw down my fucking own little rainbow gathering. I'm not no homo, but if you would come to a rainbow gathering that I would want to put on or coordinate or start, you could just put a rainbow in the chat, bro. Because rainbows didn't always mean fucking, you know what I mean?
And you're just sitting out here driving on this Highway 50 on this road. It's pretty desolate. And you just think back like 200 years ago, the grizzly bear was out here. We don't have grizzly bears in Kansas anymore. Like grizzly bears are pretty isolated.
No grizzlies in Kansas?
No, grizzlies aren't even in Colorado, supposedly, anymore, or New Mexico. The grizzlies used to be all up on the high plains.
Yeah.
And they're now up in Wyoming and Montana and Idaho and Washington, I guess.
The grizzly bear. I just love bears, bro. I love bears. It's my spirit animal. Do you guys have a spirit animal? What's your spirit animal? I've always just been, I just really resonate with the bear because I'm like cute and cuddly and shit. But if you try and cross the line, fucking. You know? Let's listen to our vice president talk and say some retarded shit.
Were wrong. What I hear is the concern that people say, other than Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, no one's been held accountable.
Yeah, and we want to hold more people accountable, absolutely, but you've got to follow the evidence in this case. In some cases, you have evidence of wrongdoing, but not something where you can actually prosecute somebody. In some cases, you have...
Real quick. What the fuck is evident? What the fuck is evidence of wrongdoing if... it's not enough evidence to prosecute? What the fuck does that actually mean? We have evidence of wrongdoing, but we don't have enough to prosecute them. You literally just contradicted yourself. We're going to pull up Webb and literally prove to you that this dude is a fucking liar. His best friend Peter Thiel is in the Epstein files a bunch. If you've read the... Okay, come on, guys. I'm dropping bombs today for people that might not know what's going on. Maybe everybody does know what's going on, and I'm just fucking rambling and repeating a bunch of shit you already know, but I don't know. Okay, there was a viral New York Times article that just came out regarding Epstein and like leaked tapes and the Situation Room. I think I understand that it was implying that there's a possibility that J.D. Vance in the Situation Room was the ringleader of these, I guess, meetings to decide how to deal with the Epstein case.
I hear that this has you concerned. It's good to stay informed. So let me look up the New York Times article to get accurate details. I'll pull that info now, and then we can go over it together. Please hold on a moment. From what I found, the New York Times recently published reporting based on leaked details of Situation Room meetings about the Jeffrey Epstein files. Those reports say Vice President J.D. Vance was actively involved in discussions about how to handle the files, pushing for transparency and debating whether to release them. The articles describe him as a strong advocate for releasing all documents, even unverified claims, and some officials apparently viewed him as a conspiracy theorist regarding Epstein. There's no indication in the reporting that he was the ringleader, but rather someone deeply concerned about the situation. If this topic is causing distress...
You can believe whatever it is that you want, bro. You can believe whatever it is that you want based off of the Perplexity, the AI program that's been programmed to respond to certain things in a certain manner, possibly is not trying in any way whatsoever to implicate the vice president of our country in any negative light, allegedly. Let's run that back, and then we're going to get over to Webb and check it.
What I hear is the concern that people say, other than Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, no one's been held accountable.
Yeah, and we want to hold more people accountable, absolutely, but you've got to follow the evidence in this case. In some cases, you have evidence of wrongdoing, but not something where you can actually prosecute somebody. In some cases, you have things that happened 20 years ago where the people who were involved, either they won't speak to a prosecutor or you just don't have the evidence to bring a case, even if you think something might happen. So we absolutely want justice for everybody. I got to tell you, I've always been creeped out by this story. Something you've got to follow the evidence in this case. In some cases, you have evidence of wrongdoing, but not something where you can actually prosecute somebody. In some cases, you have things that happened 20 years ago where the people who were involved, either they won't speak to a prosecutor, or you just don't have the evidence to bring a case, even if you think something might happen.
So wait a second. Something might have happened 20 years ago, but they won't speak to a prosecutor. My first response to that is, since when is it the responsibility of the criminal or the pedophile to speak to a prosecutor? No, that's not how it works. If you have evidence, you arrest them. We actually probably, as a country, if I'm just being 100% honest with you, we need to get rid of this fucking retarded ass statute of limitations when it comes to sex crimes. Because you're right. Did Bill Clinton allegedly, probably, most likely, diddle the diddlers? Get diddle little kids? Or underage girls? Yeah, probably. At least that's what it looks like, right? If I'm wrong, then tell me I'm wrong right now. That you don't think the same thing. If you think the same thing, then tell me you think that you're on that team. Because I definitely believe that he is implicated. So why is it that an American president can potentially and allegedly be a pedophile, and just because the crime was out of the statute of limitations means that pedophile never ever has to see justice, bro? So what? They just have to get away with it for a certain amount of time, and then they're just scot-free regardless of how many victims they've had? That's insane to me. That sounds like actual insanity.
So we absolutely want justice for everybody. I got to tell you, Nora, I've always been creeped out by this story because Jeffrey Epstein knew a lot of rich and powerful people and seemed to run in these circles while he was doing some very disgusting things with young girls. The story has always creeped me out, but we can't just prosecute people because we think something is wrong. You can only prosecute people if you've got the evidence to prove the wrongdoing. Those were wrong.
What I hear is
Okay. I hear you, Mr. JD. If we have evidence. You said if we have evidence. Oh yeah, here's the document again, the Illuminati family and their associates. EFTA 01082667. It literally says the Mormon leadership. I'm just hoping, I think Kevin is a human is still here. Maybe he has seen this document, maybe he hasn't seen this document. The Illuminati families, bro. It's in the documents. The only difference in all of these names is that it says Mormon leadership and everything else says the bloodline. But anyways, okay, let's get over here. The vice president just said on TV that there is no evidence that they can prosecute anyone. Who are the people that there seems to be tons of evidence to at least investigate? Alrighty, let's move all the way up to the top of the page. To the page, huh? So let me get this straight. The vice president just went on TV and said that there's no evidence for them to arrest anyone regarding Jeffrey Epstein. The arrest, maybe, but there's definitely plenty of evidence in the Epstein files for them to at least investigate some individuals, at least try to look as if they're trying to be transparent and that the pedophiles who are harming our children will have justice. So I'm in Web right now. If you guys don't know what Web is, shout out Web, shout out Kevin is a Human, shout out Ian Carroll. Web is a platform that allows you to look through all of the Epstein files with the caveat that you get like a little chat bot that you can actually ask questions to, and it will pull up all applicable information regarding only the data that's inside of the web. Because most AI chatbots, they have this thing called like AI hallucination, because their whole mission every single time you put a prompt in is to satisfy you with at least as many prompts as possible, targeting specifically to answer your question exactly how you want it to be answered the first time. Sometimes they run into situations where they don't have an answer, so they literally hallucinate information to try and give you the answer that will satisfy you the first time. So Web does not do that. Web actually only will pull information from the specific data sets that you have selected or even uploaded. Now, this one specifically, you can see on the side here, maybe not because of my camera, but we've got the 9/11 files, we've got the whole entire FBI vault files, and we've got the Jeffrey Epstein files. There's 1.5 million documents available to me in the Jeffrey Epstein, 9,004, and now each one of these documents, all these files in each one of these have many different documents actually. So the vice president said that there was nobody that we could arrest, or there's no evidence for us to even be able to get justice. But Webb is telling me the co-conspirators and the SNDY prosecutors were already building a case. So let's start with what's most directly relevant to the can't prosecute claim. A December 19, 2019 prosecution memorandum from the Southern District of New York, written after Epstein's death, details an active investigation into a potential co-conspirator. The memo specifically names Ghislaine Maxwell, Leslie Groff, and Redacted as targets, analyzing the extent to which Epstein's associates and employees may or may not be criminally liable. Let's look at that document. Pull it up. We can close this out. I'm going to shorten this, dude. Okay. On July 2nd, 2019, a federal grand jury in the Southern District of New York returned a sealed indictment charging Jeffrey Epstein with 1 count of sex trafficking of minors and 1 count of conspiracy to commit sex trafficking of minors. The prosecution memorandum in support of the indictment detailed the evidence gathering regarding Epstein and his associates during the Office of Pre-Indictment Investigation. Victims were initially recruited to provide massages to Epstein, which would be performed nude or partially nude, would become increasingly sexual in nature. Moreover, Epstein's actively encouraged certain of his victims to recruit additional girls to be similarly sexually abused. Okay, next person. Let's see here. Multiple FD 302 FBI interview summaries and law enforcement diagrams in the Epstein files map out a trafficking enterprise with a hierarchical structure and the names. We have the names. Adriana Ross. She's been identified in the documents admitted during a proffer that she was trained by another employee to schedule appointments. She was made to perform massages on Epstein at his at his private island. She was instructed to remove items from his Palm Beach and Virgin Island homes and destroy them during the investigation. Weird, isn't that obstruction of justice, bro? She hasn't been charged for obstruction of justice. They know that she destroyed evidence. Why hasn't she been arrested? They don't have evidence that she abused anybody or did anything, but they do have evidence that she destroyed evidence. That's obstruction of justice. That's Sarah Kellen was the person who was Oh, that Adriana Ross. Yeah, that same thing. Sarah Kellen was also identified in the documents. At least 10 victims identified her as the direct point of contact for scheduling massage appointments in West Palm Beach and New York. She greeted girls, made them comfortable, brought them into the massage room, gave them instructions, and then she was the person that paid them afterwards. One of the victims says she was sexually abused during a massage session with Epstein. Then also Sarah Kellen was instructed to destroy evidence during the Palm Beach investigation. That's evidence that she should be charged. And then good old Leslie Groff. Now we got financial enablers. The evidence against JP Morgan Chase is extensive and comes from its own internal records. The Virgin Islands lawsuit against JP Morgan alleges the bank knew that Epstein was trafficking girls and chose profits over compliance. Well, that's obvious. JP Morgan identified $840,000 in cash transactions from Epstein's accounts, a sign of commercial sex and a red flag for human trafficking. There was over $900,000 in cash transactions in 2005. Internal emails from July 2006 where a managing director emailed Jess Staley, "Did you read page 6 today? Blurb about J.E. soliciting a minor." Pull up the document. A 2019 Treasury filing identified over $1 billion in transactions the bank itself said were related to human trafficking dating back to 2003. The bank itself said that they were related to human trafficking. Jess Staley, the former JP Morgan executive who became Barclays CEO, corresponded with Epstein while Epstein was incarcerated and visited Epstein's Virgin Islands residence multiple times. Has he been arrested? I don't think so. The suit alleges Staley reported Epstein's confession to Mary Erdős, and that was corroborated in writing. Yet the bank kept his accounts open for years after his 2008 guilty plea. Virginia Giuffre, in an alleged sworn affidavit, she swore that Alan Dershowitz had sexual intercourse with her at least 6 times, starting when she was 16 years old and continued until she was 19. She claimed he was so comfortable, he would chat with Epstein while I was giving oral sex to Epstein. Dershowitz has denied this and filed defamation claims. Weird. Defamation claims can never be proved in court if she mysteriously dies. I'm just saying. Oh, here we go. Donald J. Trump. The FBI's tip line records EFTA 0660651 contains multiple tips naming Trump directly. One tip alleges Trump attended calendar girl parties at Mar-a-Lago where Epstein would bring the children in and Trump would auction them off, with a specific allegation that the caller was raped at 13. Tips also reference the Trump modeling agencies, trips on Epstein's plane, and parties with numerous named celebrities. We got to see these documents. Oh, okay. There was a complaint reported her neighbor sought modeling gigs at the Trump modeling agency in New York between the years of 1998 and 2000. Complainant reported neighbor allegedly went on cruises set up by a recruiter and the head of the agency, and once showed complaint a photo of the recruiter whom complainant recalled looking like Epstein. Complainant reported neighbor was allegedly raped several times during this period. Caller provided information at reference prior civil case from 13 years ago that involved Trump and mentioned Jeffrey Epstein with a minor. Weird. Why ain't nobody talking about this? You know what I'm saying? They're still just around. It's in the files. They're lying to us. They say there's no evidence. We can look at the fucking evidence, bro. We know that there's evidence against Bill Clinton, bro. Roberts declared, "I will cooperate fully in the investigation and prosecution of Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and any other friends who participated in the sexual abuse of minors." Flight logs show Clinton flew on Epstein's jet for a 2002 Africa tour along several young women. Virginia Giuffre stated she met Clinton on the island but did not have sex with him. However, investigators have noted that Clinton visited Epstein's island when it was allegedly rife with illegal sexual acts. Her attorney argued if Clinton flew to an island where minors were being sexually molested and did not report this to the authorities, he could have committed a criminal offense. Isn't that true? We might not have any information regarding if actual Bill Clinton was a pedophile and raped or molested little girls. But if he went to the island during the time that the molesting was happening and he did not report it to the authorities as the fucking president, that is enough to charge him. There's so many charges we can be fucking, people can be getting justice. Can you not see it, bro? All of them. It's every single fucking person, bro. Until there's arrests, they're all on the list. Epstein's 97-page address book, called The Holy Grail in the Documents, contained personal phone numbers and email address for Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, John Kerry, Donald Trump, Tony Blair, Ehud Barak, Michael Bloomberg, Richard Branson, George Michael, Harry Kissinger, Andrew Cuomo, Dustin Hoffman, David Koch, Mick Jagger, among others. Wait a second. What about this? Tell me about the Palm Beach Police Department and Epstein. The files look like Jeffrey was donating to the precinct while committing sexual crimes. Richie, I mean, to be honest, we just have, what I'm doing about it is currently just doing everything I can by going live on the internet for 2 to 3 hours every single weekday, talking about all of the stuff that I think is important and just hoping and just vibrating in the frequency of gratitude, and whoever resonates will resonate and stick around. And that is the whole point, is just to have conversation and just to spread information. Have conversation and spread information. You could drop that in the chat if you resonate with anything I just said. Have conversation. The donation that almost became a firearms simulation. The most frequently documented figure is 90,000 to 100,000 that Epstein donated to the Palm Beach Police Department for firearms training simulator, a piece of equipment the department was still researching. 3 months before the police investigation began into him, Epstein wrote a check. Okay. Let's just read this document. It's a bad memory. I would rather not have ever met Jeffrey Epstein, said Michael Stroll, the retired former president of Williams Electronics and Sega Corporation. Suffice it to say, I have nothing good to say about him. Along the characteristics most attributed to Epstein is a penchant of women. He has been linked to Maxwell, a fixture on a high society party circuits in both New York and London. Previous girlfriends are said to include a former Miss Sweden and a Romanian model. Interesting. He's a lot of fun to work with, Donald Trump told the New York Times magazine in 2012. Oh, a lot of fun to be with, sorry. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do. Jeffrey Epstein likes kids, and many of them are on the younger side. Weird, right? isn't that him just saying that he's a pedophile? I'm just saying what's up, bro, you know? I mean, isn't that in his own words? He likes women. He likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. The investigation leads to Epstein. Although he was not a frequenter of the Palm Beach social scene, he made his presence felt. Along with charitable donations, he gave $90,000 to the Palm Beach Police Department and $100,000 to Ballet, Florida. In Palm Beach, he lived in luxury. 3 black Mercedes sat in his garage alongside a green Harley Davidson. His jet waited at the hangar at Palm Beach International Airport. At home, a private chef and a small staff stood at the ready. From a window of his mansion, he could look out on the Intercoastal Waterway and the West Palm Beach skyline. In March 2005, a worried mother contacted Palm Beach police, said another person had overheard a conversation between their children. Now the mother was afraid her 14-year-old daughter had been molested by a man who lived on the island. The phone call triggered extensive investigations, one that would lead detectives to Epstein but leave them frustrated. Oh, why? Because they found out that he was an intelligence asset and he got a sweetheart deal where he went to jail, but it was like ankle monitor, and like 2 police officers would change out of their police uniforms and put on suits and go to his office and actually just become security for his office. It's fucking disgusting, bro. Here's the part of the story that matters to the no evidence claim. The Palm Beach Police Department did their job thoroughly. Detectives spent 11 months on the case. I don't think they did thoroughly. Why was he arrested? Why was he let go? Okay, let's read this whole thing. Detectives spent 11 months on the case. They sifted through Epstein's trash, pulled notes containing things like Monday after school, that's disgusting, and girls' work hours. They conducted physical surveillance, watched his home, monitored his jet at Palm Beach International Airport, interviewed victim after victim, all minors, all recruited from Royal Palm Beach High School, all paid $200 to $300 for massages that escalated into self-pleasure and sexual contact. Victim after victim, they said. Detective Joe Riccieri assembled a probable cause affidavit that recommended Epstein be arrested on 4 counts of unlawful sexual activity with a minor and 1 count of lewd and lavishness, lascivious molestation, all second-degree felonies. The probable cause affidavit details victims as young as 14. One victim described being paid $1,000 after Epstein penetrated her, then apologized. Another said Epstein displayed her photographs around his house. Multiple victims said they had no formal massage training. Police were so confident in the case that Chief Ryder wrote a memo to State Attorney Barry Kreischer, so blunt it made news, suggesting Kreischer disqualify himself from the prosecution. Ryder called Kreischer's handling highly unusual and wrote, "I must urge you to examine the unusual course that your office's handling of this matter has taken and consider it good and sufficient reason exists to require your disqualification from these cases." Okay. Colleagues cite Chief's professionalism and integrity. Kreischer, rather than filing the charges police recommended, took the case to a grand jury, which indicted Epstein on only 1 count of felony solicitation for prostitution. Okay, so it went from like molesting girls and like abusing children to going, instead of like in Florida, like a state charge, it just went to the federal charges so that the feds could change it to 1 count of asking a girl for prostitution. You know, that was the charge that led to the controversial 2008 non-prosecution agreement. After a long-time probe, Palm Beach billionaire faces solicitation charge. We now all know that this wasn't a solicitation charge. This was fucking raping children, bro. And it seems to me that, Webb wants to say that they did their job thoroughly. They did. They found out all the evidence. But as soon as it went to the federal level, everything changed. Weird. Just seems weird. The corruption didn't stop at the town police level. An FBI tip received in November 2021, case ID 50D-NY-3027-571, alleges that a police captain in the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office received at least $10,000 from Epstein in 2012, the same day he told his family he was retiring to run for Hendry County Sheriff. The tipster believed the total was closer to $50,000 when including vacations and unattributed deposits that surfaced during his divorce proceedings. Weird. The police chief or the police captain in fucking Palm Beach was receiving money, and then he retired as the police chief and then went to move on to be the sheriff, was receiving money from Epstein after Epstein was donating money to the Palm Beach Police Department. The money was allegedly laundered through a soap making business set up by PBCS deputy who then forwarded it. Epstein knew both deputies from his time incarcerated at the Stockade, the minimum security Palm Beach County jail where he was on ankle monitor. One of them said he did favors and would bend the rules for Epstein, who he described as a nice guy, if a bit perverted. The same deputy also did unspecified favors for Ghislaine Maxwell. Why can we not arrest this dude? This whole thing started with the vice president saying that we didn't have evidence to arrest anybody. I would like to assume that I have provided enough information for you to go, dang, maybe we do have evidence to at least arrest somebody. How about this? Who flew Jeffrey's plane? Isn't there such thing as like going to jail for like being an accomplice, like someone who assisted in the crime taking place? Bruh. Come on, bro. Like, what the fuck is going on, bro? An accessory to murder. Do you know what that means? You helped with the murder. So if Jeffrey Epstein was flying just across the world in this private jet, raping children, with all of the fucking most wealthy elites on the planet, everyone, all the leaders, the billionaires, etc., how come these people haven't been arrested? The pilots themselves are named in the documents. Epstein's primary pilot for decades. He gave an extensive interview to investigators and testified in disposition about what he observed on board. His name is Larry Vizasco. He stated he took direction from Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and that the flight schedule was erratic and unpredictable. He confirmed he saw young women appearing to be in the teens on so many flights. And this fucking piece of shit never said shit. He never said fucking anything. We could arrest him. Arrest the fucking pilots. Can you just drop arrest the pilots in the comments, bro? We're going to look his face up, bro. Look, he is right there with Bill Gates, bro. Arrest that fucking piece of shit. Who else? David Reeves, another pilot referenced who testified about passenger manifest and the regular presence of young women on the flights. David Reeves. Let's see what this fucking piece of shit looks like. I gotta probably specify Epstein's pilot. How do you fucking spell pilot? I think. Fuck. Silly ass stoner moment. How do you spell pilot? Sometimes. His name's David Rogers? I don't know about that. Okay. David Rogers then. That's what I thought. I'm silly. I'm a silly guy. I'm just a silly Willy Manilly Dilly. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a photo of him. Why couldn't you? Oh, because it possibly that he changed his fucking name. Isn't that weird? He changed his name. Why is the information that's coming from the Epstein files saying David Reeves, but the AI is telling me that his name is David Rogers? Weird. That in itself could be a conspiracy that we just fucking unraveled or opened the fucking portal to, bro. Dennis Rice, the third pilot whose name appears in the records. Like, it's pretty, I don't know, maybe if you're still here, you know, you could just let me know somewhere in the chat, like, arrest the pilots at least. If we can't even get arrests for the people who drove him around to rape kids, then this whole thing is never going to come unglued, bro. Do you think that we're ever going to get the truth? I don't know. I love you. Damn. You guys didn't even know, bro. I was fucking recording that fucking whole Epstein fucking arrest, the evidence for arrest, bro, for a clip, bro. I clipped that whole shit, boy. I clipped that whole shit. That's gonna be a YouTube video later, bud. All right. Enough with the Epstein stuff. Let's see. I've been going for an hour and 30. I'm gonna put something up on the screen for y'all to watch while I just go take a potty. I've got to go take a potty. Fill up me cup. Oh, there's new Chris Webby out. Just shout out Chris Webby, friend of the show. New Chris Webby out. I can't play it because it's copyrighted, but I definitely can. Oh, look at that. Boom, look at there's a little fucking Tripoverdrip right there. A Tripoverdrip video on my feed, bro. What's up? Yeah, I follow myself on my personal channel, so what? It's got to make sure that everyone at least gets, every video gets a like and stuff, you know? At least one person watches it. Sometimes it might only just be me. Anyways.
And I want when.
All right, Scotty, I'm just headed to the potty. I'm just headed to the bathroom. If you guys wanted to, just bless you and thank you so much if you do. While I'm out into the bathroom, bro, can y'all just like go through the other platforms, Facebook and YouTube or Twitch or whatever one that you're not on, and just go engage, hit the comment, hit the like button if it's on the YouTube, not just in the live stream, but the actual live itself. Please do that. I need to get 3,000 hours of watch time on YouTube, bro. I don't know how. I mean, really, I just hit 1,000 subs. So if everybody watches for 3 hours, that's how it should work. But of course, that's not how it ends up being. So if you guys could just go to YouTube and actually like the live stream. Also hit the like button in the live chat, but like the stream itself. I'm going to play this while I run to the potty.
I was adopting my boys. I was invited to speak at the National Foster Parents Association. So I finished the class and I'm like, I want to meet every parent in this class. This is so cool. Like, I'm going to meet my new tribe of people that are adopting kids out of foster care. These people are awesome. I meet a couple new people, and then I meet this one woman. oh yeah, what you want to do is you want to get a D-rate kid. And I was like, what? That's what I said. I was like, what's a D-rate kid? What does that mean? And she goes, oh honey, I make $28,000 a month off foster care. What? And she was like, yeah, because I have this many kids. And she goes, here's the thing. You want to get a D-rate kid. I was like, what is a D-rate kid? She goes, okay, here's how it works. You want to make sure they fail in school. If they fail in school and you can get them on medication, your rate goes up. Every time they don't pass a grade, your rate goes up because they're a more difficult kid. Every time they need a medication, your rate goes up.
Holy shit.
And I was shocked. Like, I was like, oh my God, that's how bad people are making money out of foster care. Hi, I'm Jen Lilly, and you can watch my episode early on Vigilance Elite Patreon. And that's one of the reasons the statistics are so bad. I just say this to say that I think the intentions of increasing the rate was to incentivize good people to stick with it. But again, what it did is incentivize all the wrong people. People who are in it for the money instead of for the love of a child.
That's just making money off the government.
Yeah.
That's not even the real dark shit.
Incentivize the other way.
Yeah.
What if they get on honor roll? Give them a bonus.
Demonic.
This is a nail on the head. This is a demonic situation that exists because the church closed her doors.
Dang. Dang. Yeah. Crazy, huh? Crazy, huh? That's crazy as shit. Sean Ryan, everybody. Friend of the show. Friend of the show. God Eaters Part 2.
Once you start.
Okay, so this is where shit starts to get crazy, weird, eccentric. Never know what's going to be said or done. If you're new here, this is basically how the live streams work. Because we say what's up, start the live stream up, welcome everybody in, give you a mindful message. We talk about things that we see on the internet. We deep dived all the way down into fucking the Epstein stuff. And now it's time for us together to learn, bro. I like to learn, bro. And so I like to, at the end of the stream, bring everybody in and we can just learn a whole bunch of shit together. And it's nice to be able to learn things. And I have the ability to have open dialogue with other humans about the things that I'm learning to help me better understand it and be able to integrate the information that I'm intaking to better process it and move forward, right? God Eaters Part 1 was just like laying down the foundation of something called the Khazarian Mafia. If you don't know what the Khazarian Mafia is, buckle up because shit's about to get crazy.
Start waking up from the hypnotic trance of the official lie.
The word they is often used to lay blame on the perpetrators. This is usually followed by the question, who are they? According to ancient history, religion, mythology, and occult tradition, they are not human, and they have been manipulating humanity from the shadows for millennia. The Gods of Eden by William Bramley does an excellent job of tracing this back through all of recorded history. But let's just start from the late 19th century. Just over a century ago, it was known that giants with red hair and double rows of teeth once inhabited America. These 9-foot...
Wait a second. Giants inhabited America? Wait, what was the Abraham quote? Oh, it's right there on the screen. Never mind. Never mind, it's right there on the screen.
Tall giants were...
Abraham Lincoln, 1874. The eyes of that species of extinct giants whose bones fill the mounds of America have gazed on Niagara as ours do now. Contemporary with the whole race of men and older than the first man, Niagara is strong and fresh today as a 10,000 years ago. You're telling me right now, it doesn't seem a little suspicious that Abraham Lincoln, right? Honest Abe, never tells a lie, is literally talking about a species of giants.
Written about casually in 1874 by Abraham Lincoln. A few years later, the Smithsonian Institute began confiscating giant mummies and skeletons by the thousands. In 1886, the exclusive Jekyll Island Club was founded and built upon an ancient burial site of the Timucua tribe, who were said to be giants. In 1910, the Federal Reserve banking conspiracy was hatched on Jekyll Island between the Rothschild banking dynasty and the Rockefeller family, whose cabin there was known as Mound Cottage and said to have been built upon a sacrificial altar.
Jekyll's Island's Canaanite altars.
These powerful families worked together to hide the truth of our mysterious past, and they built a modern society with poison to keep us dumb and lies to keep us confused. The Rothschild dynasty and the Federal Reserve banking system funded all sides of the First and Second World Wars.
Wait. Can we fact check that real fast? Is there evidence that the Rothschild were in any way implicated in funding both sides of both world wars?
From the sources I found, reputable historians and institutions like Britannica emphasize that claims about the Rothschild family funding both sides of World War I or II are conspiracy theories that have been thoroughly...
Of course they are! Fuck you! They rule the world, bro. Rothschild.
Which paved the way for the creation of the United Nations in 1945. Funded by the Rockefellers, the UN was the beginning of today's de facto world government. The Nuremberg trials resulted with only...
Wait a second. You see at the top, bro? Do you see at the top what his name is? His name is fucking Rudolph Hess. Wait a second, isn't that my name? Isn't that my name? Let's just see real quick. I just want to see, bro. Dang, that's scary, dude. Rudolf Hess was the leading member of the Nazi Party and Adolf Hitler's longtime personal aide and deputy party leader until 1941. Hess was the chief architect to the Nuremberg laws that stripped Jews of citizenship and was unprecedented about his actions, pledging allegiance to Hitler. The Soviet Union vetoed all efforts to release him and he remained in prison for 46 years until his death. It was officially ruled a suicide. Most famous act. On May 10th, 1941, Rudolf Hess flew solo into Scotland to Scotland in a Massachusetts Bf-110, attempting to negotiate a peace deal between Germany and Britain. It was an unauthorized mission that Hitler rejected. So he fucking flew over, bro, to freaking Scotland in a plane, bro, and jumped out of the plane, got arrested, and it was all an attempt to start a peace deal between Germany and Britain. It was a proposition he had that Hitler denied a bunch of times. Dang, bro, a fucking Nazi, bro. Damn, dude. I'm not a Nazi, bro. I'm not a Nazi, bro.
12 sentenced to death and 7 sent to prison.
I mean, if we're really trying to get kind of crazy about that, they repeatedly said on the news over and over again that Trump was a Nazi. You know what I mean? Like, before he became president, it was like, he's a Nazi, 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 Nazi. And they were just fucking lying, dude, because Trump loves the Jews, bro. Trump's not trying to hurt any Jews, bro. How is he a Nazi, bro?
Majority were allowed to professionally continue their criminal activities. Nazis who were tried for medical experiments involving cruelty and murder were later brought into Big Pharma through Operation Paperclip.
Wait a second. Wait 1 second. Didn't we talk about this yesterday? I think we were talking about Operation Paperclip, that after the war, oh yeah, America just went into Germany and just got all of these prisoners of war that just so happened to be high-ranking Nazis, and then like changed their names and identity and then brought them to America and gave them high up positions in our government, in our military. Weird. Fucking weird.
And an entire team of Nazi rocket scientists were brought in to start NASA. While the Nuremberg trials may have been mostly theater, they had their revelations. It was revealed that the Nazi eugenics program stemmed from organizations in America funded by the Rockefeller Foundation and its offshoots. And it was revealed that many high-ranking Nazis believed they were in contact with an alien race known as the Aryans.
What the fuck? Are you hearing this? Who's hearing this? Did y'all already know all this stuff? You probably did. They were obsessed with the occult. They were obsessed with ancient artifacts, the 7 wonders of the world, looking for Atlantis, aliens, etc.
Believed they were in contact with an alien race known as the Aryans, the same mythical race that allegedly created Hinduism as it is known today. While many Hindu scholars dismissed the claim, the Nazis believed it. It is why they adopted the popular Hindu swastika. They also studied the Vedas, and their most classified project, the Bell, had the same design as the Vimana spacecraft described in these ancient texts. In 1971, a young Klaus Schwab, son of a Nazi nuclear scientist, was placed as the head of what is now known as the World Economic Forum by his mentor, Henry Kissinger. In 1974, Rockefeller protege Henry Kissinger wrote National Security Memorandum 200 for the United Nations. This is popularly known as the Kissinger Report and is one of the foundational documents of the depopulation agenda unfolding today, with Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum acting as the tip of the spear. And so who are they? Several will say it's the Rothschild family, but they seem to work for the crown. Others argue that the Vatican holds more sway. Many people insist it's the Jesuits, and some swear it's the Jews. According to occult records, a character named Sanat Kumara rules over the world from inside the earth, along with a group known as the Great White Brotherhood, 7 in total. Helena Blavatsky says these 7 Kumaras are the same as the 7 Dhyanis, the 7 archangels, and the 7 Elohim, the 7 representing the 7 sisters, also known as the Pleiades star cluster. NASA, which was started by Nazis, Freemasons, and Satanists, has been obsessed with both Pleiades and Orion ever since the Apollo moon missions. According to hundreds of alien abductees, that is where most aliens claim to be from. 2 different factions, one to help liberate humanity and the other to enslave us. It is the oldest story on Earth, good versus evil, the darkness and the light, the white hats and the black hats. It is a struggle within each one of us and is unfolding in the world around us for all to see. A more beneficial inquiry might be, who am I?
Oh no, Metallica. I don't want to get copyrighted. Fuck it. Look at all this stuff. I'll just jump ahead. I'm jumping ahead. I don't want to get copyrighted, bro. Metallica's definitely copyrighted, bro.
Seen part 2, I've already seen part 1. Part 1 was a big hit. I cannot believe how many people watched part 1. I don't know why that was the case, but I guess I hit a nerve with this. So I'm happy about that, and I'm really hoping that today.
The reason part 1 did so well, Chuck, is because you're a genius, bro. You're smart. You're intelligent. You care about humanity. Thank you, Chuck, for all you do. If you don't know who Chuck Swindell Jr. is, you should just look him up, bud. I'll just go ahead and just show it in the corner right here. You can see Chuck Swindell Jr. Let me just share it up. Let me just share this video in the chat so you can go give Chuck a follow. Friend of the show. I hope one day me and Chuck can talk. I've tried multiple times, but it's just not the right timing.
We can cover some amazing ground. I have some awesome information that, had I known this kind of thing much earlier in my life, I would have made such better decisions for myself. I spent so many years involved in a belief system, and it really messed up my thinking. It really messed up how I understood the world. And I mean, I guess this is a good way to start off, but 3 gentlemen were critical and instrumental in my recovery, in getting out of a system of belief. Those 3 men were Terrence McKenna, Dr. Joseph Campbell, and Alan Watts. And actually today, I'm going to open up with a little story from Alan, because these guys, those 3 gentlemen, were so helpful to me in my life. They'll be helpful to us today as we cover some ground that's going to be extremely challenging. I kind of have to calm down. My heart is really racing right now because there's a lot of really amazing information coming, and I can't rush it. I have to be very calm. So in a lecture that Alan gave years ago, he's since passed away, but in a lecture that he gave years ago, he told a story of a woman who approached him and said to him that she was deathly afraid of black widow spiders. And she wanted to know how to cure her fear. And Alan said to her, well, there's really only one way to cure your fear, and that is to learn about, to know what you're afraid of, because it's what we don't know that causes fear. It's what we don't understand and don't know that causes fear. And
who can resonate with that? I said, if anybody's here right now, is that the fear of the unknown, right? It's like, it's fear. It's like uncertainty. I resonate with that a lot. There's a lot of time. I mean, I'm not perfect, bro. I'm a human just like you, bro. Sometimes I do succumb to fear. But you know what I'm saying? I'll just point this out. I'm not a Christian by any means. I am obsessed with Yeshua or Jesus, but it does say in the Bible 365 times, so you can remind yourself every single day. It just says, don't be afraid. Do not fear. That's how they control you and like manipulate your energy to be able to get them to believe or follow whatever narrative they want, is through fear, bro.
And so he said, I want you to go to the library, and I want you, this is back before the internet, I want you to, he said to the lady, I want you to go to the library, and I want you to get every single book you can find on black widows, every single picture book, every single scientific book, every single book that you can find on black widow spiders. And I want you to read everything, look at everything, and I want you to spend days, weeks, months if you need to learn everything there is to know about black widow spiders. Okay, I guess she was a local, because he said she came back to him at another lecture later on. He was down in San Francisco where he did most of his work. He lived on a ferry boat, which is awesome because that ties into Buddhism, but I can't get carried away with that stuff. So he was at another lecture, and she came back to him, and she said, you're not going to believe this, but I not only am not afraid of black widow spiders anymore, I've actually started to collect them. And right there is a brilliant example of one of the greatest truths in philosophy, and that is, when you know yourself, you conquer all your fears because you're no longer afraid, because you know who you are. And then, as well as things that you are afraid of that are outside of you, when you learn them, you conquer all your fears. And so today, that's a wonderful introduction to today, because today we're going to learn how to conquer our fear in regards to the Khazarian Mafia, and we're going to follow them from about where I left off last time. And by learning about them, we're no longer going to be afraid of them, and we won't be afraid of their symbolism. Some of the symbolism I have in here is pretty frightening, and so you'll need to learn about these things, to know these things, so that they're not frightening anymore, and they'll just become benign. They'll just become just another aspect of life, another characteristic of life, another experience in life that you come to know through experience. Okay, so, my goodness. So with that in mind, let's head over to my little time map here that I didn't spend hardly any time on. I spent so much time on this, I should have. But I want to recap a little bit of what we looked at so that we're all on the same page as to what's happening. Now, one of the best things to know when you begin to study history are the ages, the major ages. And so I have written them down here: the Stone Age, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, and the Roman Age. And by knowing this order, this chronological order, you're going to better understand the events in history. And by better understanding these things, you can find the patterns. And by finding the patterns, man, that's how you understand something, and that's how you conquer fear. And just find the similarities, and it'll all begin to make sense to you. Okay, so going back to the beginning, this bloodline we've been tracing of the Khazarian Mafia, a number of the witnesses that I have watched and read testimonies of and so forth talked about how the Luciferians that preyed on them would claim their lineage back to the Amalekites. And so that's how Amalekite has continued to come up in my dialogue here with you, is because that's where I'm getting the evidence that I'm getting out of the videos I'm watching, the books that I'm reading, and all that I'm gathering to pull this stuff together. There's been a common theme of Amalek and the Amalekites, and this is Amalek, and as we saw in the last video, Amalekite, Amalek, this means liquors of blood. But what I want you to notice here on my timeline, and this is what all this has been building up to, is this 1 BC notation on this map I've got here. So you see in purple there 1 BC, and it says trade routes, China to Europe open. I'll never forget this, but years and years ago when I was fighting cancer, I was watching a lecture series by Dr. Joseph Campbell called Mythos. And he mentioned in that series that these trade routes that opened up between China and India and on into the West are what eventually destroyed Rome. And the reason why these trade routes eventually destroyed Rome is because these trade routes opened the path and gateway for the Cynics, for the Eastern religions and principles that were brought into the West. And so you had these people that had migrated over, and they came in and they brought great challenge to this.
Have you guys ever heard of Silk Road? Not the website, bro. Have you guys ever heard of the Silk Road? It's actually a very historically famous trade route, which was exactly what he's talking about. It was like the most successful trade route because it was the ability to transport goods in all directions, north, east, south, and west. It was basically the connecting the Silk Road was how everyone got all of their items. The Silk Road.
Spiritual fundamental that was prevailing in Rome. And as anybody would know, if you destroy the prevailing spiritual notion of a group of people, that people will split apart. People die for their religions. People die for their belief systems. And so it's essential that any community of people is united. They are united in a spiritual sense, in a spiritual understanding that particular culture has captured. Now, we all know in this age of information, we all know as time is moving on and so forth right now, that it's not a good idea to be in a hive mind. It's not a good idea to be locked down to one particular belief system. But what you have to understand is they had no internet at this time. Communication was hard to come by. And so what you knew was what your local community knew. And so if you break apart a city in their belief systems, in their spiritual system, who their gods are, what their traditions are, what their annual traditions are, what they celebrate, who they worship, all this kind of stuff. If you break that up, that society is doomed. And it was Dr. Campbell's contention that essentially, at the end of the day, it was the spiritual dissolving of Rome that eventually broke the thing apart. And then that combined with the corruption at the top of the scale, and that is our concern, the Khazarian Mafia. And they had already infiltrated Rome. And this is what isn't understood, and I've got some great videos I'm going to show you today. That's going to show you how we went from Rome and this ancient Iron Age and this brutality age and fighting and war age into this whole psychological, spiritual age that was birthed with the birth of the Roman Catholic Church in 325. And so what's really critical in understanding yourself and in understanding this group and history and so forth is bridging that gap. And in understanding those ancient peoples were the ones who formed modern society. Nothing happened or ended them. Their core corruption, the corruption that corroded and destroyed Rome is the same corruption that corroded and destroyed the Catholic Church, that is destroying the Catholic Church. It's the same corruption because all of these these groups worship the Black Sun. They are Satanists. And so whether they know it in that language or not is beside the point. The point being that is the spirit.
Real quick. If you resonate at all with the fact that they're Luciferians or Satanists or they've sacrificed kids to Baal all the way up at the top, please just drop an emoji that lets me know you resonate. That could be like a third eye because you got two eyes to look, one eye to see. You could drop the alien emoji because you're not like other humans and you can see what is sitting up at the top. It's the rot at the top that's consuming and eating our children, etc.
Spiritual center. That's the uniting point. That's the principle that undergirds the Khazarian Mafia is this Satanism, this Luciferianism, this Black Sun worship, Baal worship, the sacrifice of individuals, the sacrifice and consumption of children. This is all what underlies this group. And I'm trying to show you through this lecture is that it has always been that way. They have always been cannibals. This goes all the way back past the Canaanites. And it's past the Canaanites because it was the Canaanites who were communing with this evil to understand and learn this control system, this mind control system, this sadistic system of worship that controls societies and oppresses and sacrifices societies. Okay. And so what I'm trying to do here now is bridge that gap. So one of the critical elements, one of the veins that's going to bring you understanding are these trade routes. And if we look at our map here, I've superimposed this picture of Khazaria. Now to remind you, this is Khazaria. And as you see, it's right there between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, just north of the Caucasus Mountains, which is just north of the Levant. They're next to the Mediterranean, as I showed you in the last video. Now look, I've taken that picture here, you see? And I've taken that picture and I've superimposed it, done my best to size it correctly, to not only show you the size of Khazaria, you see, but how the trade routes from India and China all pass through this area. Now what's critical to understanding in how the Khazarians gained wealth and power are the trade routes, because they were bringing the money. They were marauders. The Khazarians were marauders, and they not only had tolls and taxes that they levied on travelers that went through there, but they actually preyed on the families. And I told that whole story in the last one. No need to go into it because we have so much to cover today. And so they would prey on these families as they would pass through, and you could see right there, as they're passing through this area to get to the west, you cannot avoid Khazaria. You can't avoid it. It's right in the middle of things. And this is how, from 1 BC, we get to 100 AD. That 100 years between the trade routes opening and the beginning of Khazaria, as we find in this essay we're going to be reading today, it's during that time frame that this whole system develops, and Khazaria basically is born, because they have this unlimited supply of money that's coming through their travelers, human meat, human sacrifice, and then they take on the identity of those people and move into the West eventually. But they build a nation off of these travelers. Okay, and it gets so bad that eventually Russia forces them to choose between one of 3 religions, and that's where we're going to get to. But what I wanted to do in this essay was to tie together those trade routes opening and then the eventual birthing of Khazaria in 100 AD, and then that's going to carry us also through the birthing of the church that's coming up in another 250 or so years after 100 AD, and we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the symbolism. We're going to get into looking at Saturn and black sun worship and how this has translated into Western society, Western symbolism, Western religion. We're going to look at all of that, and this is all tied into these trade routes, the Khazarian mafia, everything. It's going to be unbelievable. You guys are going to understand it all. Okay, so the basis of this lecture I'm giving you today is The Hidden History of the Incredibly Evil Khazarian Mafia by Mike Harris, PhD. Now, before we begin, understand that I've had to do some editing for time. I've timed this out, and I've come to almost 3 hours to do this lecture, and so that's completely crazy. So I have had to cut out some paragraphs, and what I've done is they're non-binding, meaning they're not paragraphs that destroy the point of the essay, which is to communicate the history of the Khazarian Mafia. They're like little ornamentations that go along with the essay to help you better understand. And so, having said that, it'd be a good idea to read it first before you watch this, so you get the whole thing first, and so you'll know the parts that I've skipped, and you'll know the paragraphs that I've had to omit simply for time. So understand, this isn't a word for word copy of the essay from Mike Harris. I have had to take out some sentences and some paragraphs to make this thing fit and to make it make sense to you in the amount of time that we have, which isn't much. Okay, the present day Khazarian Mafia, KM, he uses the letters KM for Khazarian Mafia all through this, so that's what KN is. The present-day Khazarian Mafia, KM, knows that it cannot operate or exist without abject secrecy, and therefore has spent a lot of money having its history excised from the history books in order to prevent citizens of the world from learning about its evil beyond imagination that empowers the world's largest organized crime cabal.
Okay, so my question for you is, this might be originated from an ancient time to become the world's largest organized crime cabal. Whether you believe in the Khazarian Mafia or not, can you not resonate in this moment about potentially the history books being edited or redacted and changed to fit a history or to hide a civilization? It even could be and go as far as Atlantis, Tartaria, Lemuria, any of these hidden cultures or hidden civilizations that float around in the conspiratorial realm of ancient civilizations, right? So if you can resonate with the idea that an ancient civilization was present, that like Atlantis, you have to be open-minded enough to not think that there was an ancient civilization that could possibly be the world's largest organized crime cabal. And you could possibly just try to make connections and resonate with what's happening around the globe. And it looks as if whoever's connected to Jeffrey Epstein is part of the world's largest organized crime cabal. And it definitely looked like they were eating and sacrificing children. So I just think that the Epstein stuff and this stuff really resonates like together. Whether they're completely connected or they're not connected at all, I'm not here to say that or say that to you or imply that to you. I'm just wanting, like he said, if there is a Khazarian Mafia that's the world's largest organized crime cabal, Jeffrey Epstein gets arrested and we find out all the political elite are molesting, raping, accomplices, just complicit without speaking out, eating, consuming the children. then that is definitely something that I fear. Just like Chuck Swindoll said in the beginning, I don't necessarily fear it, but it is something that is to be feared, right? If that makes sense. It's something that is dark and evil. And the only way that I could compel myself in this day and age to best protect my children and do whatever I can to make people aware of what's actually and allegedly and potentially and most likely the case is to learn about the things that I want to learn about. So if you guys like to learn, I appreciate you guys being through the stream all of the time. So that's how, if you guys are just new, just jumping in, I'm seeing a little bit of the numbers go up. In the beginning, I like to give you something that will change your life. In the middle, we kind of just like talk and discuss things that are happening on the internet. We just scroll the internet and look at people's posts and comment, make commentary about them. And then at the end, I am a student before I ever try to be a teacher about anything. That's like one of the best qualities about teachers is if you can really embrace the fact that you don't know everything and that you're going to get a lot of shit wrong, and that you're always willing to have an open mind and just learn more stuff, and then you can adjust what you believe is to be true. You don't necessarily have to take everything for heart. You should always do your own research. And so at the end of every stream, I like to bring you guys along to the type of shit that I'm researching. Sometimes we be researching things that we both want to research that we've had in prior discussions. So if you're here, please just make it present to anyone who might watch this at a later time that you're here by just commenting one thing that you're grateful for. I'll go first while you're typing into the chat bar. I'm just genuinely grateful for the ability that I was able to get my life together to provide for my children, especially not coming from a upbringing that didn't have a father figure. I'm grateful that I was able to get my head on my shoulders and reorder my priorities after going to prison to be able to do everything I can with every breath and every step to provide a life for them that not only one provides them the best life, but also vicariously provides the best life for my inner child, the one that actually really needs it. So I encourage you, if you can, just let it be known that you're up in here. Comment something you're grateful for. I would love to hear what you have to say. And really dig deep, you know what I'm saying? You don't got to say I'm grateful for life, because everybody should be grateful for life. Just comment something that you're like actually grateful for, you know, something that takes a few seconds that you have to like really contemplate, like what is what, you know what I'm saying?
Now, what you've got to understand, let me make a little correction here. What you've got to understand is the reason why you don't know anything about the KM is because they have erased themselves from history. They have buried themselves in other histories. So just like Western religion appropriated pagan traditions and buried those pagan traditions underneath its umbrella of Western traditional spirituality, so nobody knows anything about the pagan history for the most part. Nobody knows that the annual rituals and the celebrations and so forth are based on pagan rituals. That's why Easter's still chosen by the moon.
Who resonates with that? Come on, man. Like Christmas and New Year's, bro, that's like around the time of like majority of the pagan holidays in the ancient past. Not too ancient actually, but before Christianity, obviously.
And so the average everyday Westerner has no idea that their symbolism is buried in paganism. Okay, and in the same way, when you look at history, buried underneath the history they've given you, you have no idea what actual history is, because the Khazarian Mafia have buried it under wars, have buried it under failed societies. And so what is lost is the true history, and you're given this pseudo-history that the Khazarian Mafia has basically indoctrinated you with, indoctrinated me with, us all. Because we all were trained under their systems, and I've got a video for that too. I hope we have time for all the stuff that I've got coming. Okay, it was Mike Harris that connected the dots and made the actual discovery of the presence of the KM's secret history and blood oath to take revenge on Russia for helping Americans win the Revolutionary War and the Civil War, and their blood oath of revenge against America and Americans for winning these wars and sustaining the Union. I have underlined that for a very critical reason, and that is for you to know why, for the last however many decades, you have heard a constant repeating of Russia, 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 anti-Russia, Russia's the bad guy, Russia is evil, Russia is terrible, Russia is destroying the world, on and on and on it goes. Okay? And all of us were buried within that inculcated idea that Russia is the source of all evil. Now, what you need to understand is Russia played a critical war in keeping the Khazarian mafia from taking over the world. They played a critical role in keeping the Khazarian mafia from taking over the world. And we're going to outline that, but this hatred of Russia goes all the way back to when they told the Khazarian society, you're either going to worship one of these three religions or we're going to destroy you. And then they went in and destroyed them 100 years later because they didn't stop. We're going to get to that. And that was the seed. The seed of hatred for Russia was born right there when Russia came in and destroyed ancient, original Khazaria, right there between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. Okay, and drove them out and drove them into Bohemia. We'll get into that. Okay, so looking on our...
He said, wait a second. Did anybody else catch that? Where did he drive them to? He said, drove them out of Russia into Bohemia? Like the Bohemian Grove? Interesting.
Little timeline here. This is now past the timeline I had before. This is a new timeline. And I have the ages written down. You can see there at the bottom it says Dark Ages, Reformed Age, Industrial Age, and Modern Age. These are the ages, the themes that carry society through time. And they're underneath these themes because these are the prevailing technology, the prevailing...
Oh my God, I just had a premonition. I just had a download, bro. Let me just show you right here. If we go back right here, if you look on the far left side, let me move my camera. It says, it's the purple line. It says, Khazarians adopt Talmudic Babylonianism. Do you know what's really weird about the Talmudic religion? Is they have like some weird circumcision ritual. If you know anything about adrenaline-filled kid blood, you could acknowledge that a screaming baby while getting circumcised is filled with adrenaline. Or at least a whole multitude of different hormonal compounds. And then like the Talmudic rabbi like puts his mouth down there to clean the blood away from the operation. It's fucking actually quite disgusting if you really think about it. Talmudic Jews, everybody.
Bottom it says Dark Ages, Reformed Age, Industrial Age, and Modern Age. These are the ages, the themes that carry society through time. And they're underneath these themes because these are the prevailing technology, the prevailing force, the prevailing energy that is driving these societies. And that's why you had the Stone Age, the Iron Age, the Bronze Age. It is that metallurgy that's driving the power of that society. And so in the same way, you now have here in these next ages, look here, you have the Middle Dark Ages. What is happening in the Middle and Dark Ages? Knowledge is kept from the people. When you keep people outside of truth and outside of information, you keep them in the dark. And who drove the Dark Ages? The Catholic Church drove the Dark Ages because they hid the truth. They hid the truth that it is all within you. And they buried it. This is going to be getting into the stuff that's going to be really hard for a lot of people to hear. And I really hope you have the stomach and the perseverance to listen through this, because this is really critical in understanding how the Khazarian Mafia have hid themselves, because they hid themselves within the Catholic Church.
In 313, Emperor Constantine proclaimed the Edict of Milan. The edict approved Christianity as a legal religion of Rome and gave legal privileges and immunity from military duty and taxes to the Christian clergy.
Oh, so that just leads me to believe that potentially the Catholic priests back then were molesting boys because they were given immunity and legal privileges. Maybe not. I don't know.
There was the political goal of Constantine, underlying such kinds of preferential treatment. It was Mithras.
Wait a second. It was Mithras? Isn't that? Wait. Mithras. Remember when we talked about Mithras? Yeah, you know, like the Statue of Liberty, the sun god of Rome. You know what I'm saying? Is literally what Mithras looks like. The Statue of Liberty. I'll say that again.
The sun worship religion that was diffused throughout Rome. But all the Roman emperors deified themselves and enforced people to worship them. Some of the nobility were fascinated by the Egyptian mystery religion. So, Rome suffered from religious dissension within itself. At this, Constantine tried to make the best use of Christianity that had spread throughout the whole region of Rome, despite all sorts of persecution. This was because he thought that Christianity could solidify his empire. By approving Christianity as a national religion of Rome, Constantine tried to seek the unity of the Roman Empire under one religion. Thanks to Constantine's pro-Christian policies, many believers of the polytheistic religions of Rome streamed into the Christian church. This tightened Constantine's political grip, and Christianity positioned itself as the religion of Rome, expunging persecution and contempt it had received so far. However, the indiscreet conversion they did without having any kind of understanding or faith, rather produced an adverse effect, the influx of pagan customs into the church. Those who were tainted with polytheism of Rome looked as if they had converted, but in actuality it wasn't easy for them to get rid of the religious rites and institutions of worshiping the sun, the moon, and the stars, and various gods and goddesses, which they had worshipped since their forefathers. The church in Rome sought for solutions to disburden the pagans when they converted to Christianity. It was to bring in things similar to the gods that the pagans had believed into the church. They thought they would increase the number of pagan converts by doing that. For the Christian bishops introduced, with but slight alterations into the Christian worship, those rites and institutions by which formerly the Greeks and Romans and others had manifested their piety and reverence towards their imaginary deities, supposing that the people would more readily embrace Christianity if they perceived the rites handed down to them from their fathers still existing unchanged among the Christians.
What do you mean, Statics? What do you mean got flagged? Who got flagged? I hope I didn't get flagged. I don't think I got flagged. Let's see here. Who's here? If you're here, can you say, hey girl, hey, what's up, dude? Something like that. We haven't had much chatter on Twitch. Not a lot of chatter. We've got Kelty and Monica chatting over here on Facebook, or YouTube, I mean. Nobody really chats. There's been a few chatters. Let's see. Richie Rose is chatting. Lilia's chatting. Julia's chatting. Statics is chatting on Facebook. Saw, dude. What's up? Hey, girl. Hey. What it is, my dudes? Okay, we see you. Release and transform. We see you. We see you. We see you. Just let yourself be seen. Sorry, I'm not looking at you guys. I'm looking at the 3 comment bars over here of people in the comments. Wasabi Giggles, how are ya? Wasabi Giggles. What's up, Julia? I'm just trying to see who's still here. We're about freaking 2.5 hours in. We'll probably run it for another 30 minutes or so. Oh yeah. We're probably going to, so this is the plan. Tomorrow, I'll probably do another day stream because I'm pretty sure Queen Trip wants to come jump up on a stream. Jump up on a stream on Friday evening. Do you guys want Queen Trip my wife to be on the stream on Friday evening? I don't know what you guys got planned for Friday evening, so I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I don't know if you guys are going out, have plans, going to take your wife or a man on a date. You got to babysit, you got to work. I don't know what's going on, but Queen Trip probably is going to jump up on the stream on Friday. I'm going to get it set up for Sunday. Sunday will be a special. Oh, no, I can't do Sunday, actually. Sunday, I'm actually recording myself on. My homies want me to be on their freaking podcast. My homies. You know who my homies are? Let me show you who the homies are. Outside Minds. Outside Minds podcast. I've been on their podcast twice before. Let's see what they got for shorts. Let's see what these shorts are looking like. Let's go watch one of my shorts. Because I've been on here twice. Like I said, they want me to come back on. Outside Minds. Shout out Stilo Free and Dot 420. Oh, right here. Dang, look at this. I got one that's got freaking... I got one that's got 1.2K views. Let's go.
Go back to the winter solstice in the original tradition of holidays. If you go to everything prior to Christianity, they all used the plants that God had provided us during these traditions.
Mushroom Christmas.
Even in the winter solstice in Norse cultures, this was the one time of year that kids were the ones that everyone in the whole culture talked to source together, collectively, healed collectively.
Dang, dude, what's on it? That was the second time. Where's the first time? Let me go back. Oh shit, I didn't have very many views right here.
Well, bad trips are actually only when the plant medicine is forcing you to feel and think about things that you necessarily don't feel comfortable thinking about right in this moment.
Yes.
So the bad trip is your perception because it's making you do things you don't want to do, so you automatically just label it as bad versus potentially your higher self, Yahweh, or source trying to help you heal through a trauma that is actually poisoning your energetic
100%. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit, I'm excited. That's this Sunday. So I'll probably have to run it Monday in the afternoon. My mom wants to come get on the stream. She is a sexual abuse survivor and she just wants to get on the internet and tell her story. So Mama Trip is about to get up on the stream. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get more people to want to do that. Obviously my wife will be like in here with me, you know what I'm saying? But these other ones, like we did with Kevin is a Human, I want to have one stream a week where I can like do podcast like stuff because I like to have conversation, bro, and I want to have conversation with people on the internet. It's the long forum conversation is where I'm really trying to hone in on. I'm trying to find people that want to do it. I've reached out to freaking lots of people, bro. But I don't want, to be honest, I want to fucking pull on, for example, like Ian Carroll, bro. I'd love to talk to Ian Carroll, bro. Not only one, would it like be a very powerful and information depth conversation where I would probably learn a lot, but he's also like someone people would know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that I'm like trying to go for like the big boys, but I do have a picture that my wife photo edited for me that I put on my vision board of me sitting across from Joe Rogan. You know what I'm saying? So like I just want to talk to I'm trying to be part of the fucking big boys, bro, so I can go up in there and make waves amongst the fucking people at the top, so everybody can collectively fucking hear my message, I guess. And I guess that's like what I'm supposed to do, right? I guess I shouldn't feel guilty about saying that I want to chit chat with all the big boys. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't feel guilty. I shouldn't feel guilty about it. But just even saying that made me feel like I was being egotistical for some reason. But I do have an image of me sitting across from Joe Rogan in Joe Rogan's studio. My wife edited it for me so I could put it as a big thing on my vision board, because I have a vision board up in my room, so I can continuously, even subconsciously, looking at the symbolism that I placed across the board myself, that I'm just intaking these positive affirmations. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk to peeps. You know how cool it would be to fucking have a chat with Candace Owens, Baron Coleman, bro? You know how cool it would be to have a chat with fucking Sean Ryan, bro? You know how cool it would be to have a chat with fucking Zach Faust, Zachary Loft, bro? You know what I'm saying? I want to have conversations, you know what I mean? So that's the goal. I'm trying to get it to where I do these live streams every day and just come up in here and chat with y'all, and then have one where it's just like a conversation with some peeps, you know what I mean? About stuff that I'm interested in, that I want to learn from the conversation, because that person has a whole bunch of information, instead of also just like relying a lot of my information that I retain being like from these videos or documentaries and like reading the books on my own. I think that there's magic that happens. There's like an for real energetic string theory entanglement connection at a certain frequency that we still haven't even figured out, when two humans are genuinely in depth, in deep conversation about complex topics, and both people's brains are firing neurons while receiving and providing information. I think that there's something magical that happens. I think that's why I like to talk so much to humans. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Christians. To attract more pagans, the church in Rome tried to Christianize various kinds of pagan gods to suit the Bible. One of the most representative things among them was accepting pagan customs of the sun god worship tradition. The church in Rome identified Jesus with the sun god. Inside of the church was decorated with various kinds of sun images, and the idea to worship the sun was established as if it were the truth of the church.
Okay, so by knowing this, that the Khazarian Mafia hid inside the Catholic Church, it's important to understand not only why that happened, but how that happened. And that is exactly what this map and this lecture is going to begin to show you.
Okay, so based on what he just said, we watched actually a clip that was kind of crazy and applicable about the holidays, after Chuck had mentioned stuff like that about the paganism being adopted into Christianity. But can you not just at least just like take your mind's eye and just go back into history and just acknowledge that prior to Christianity, every single other spiritual path, some of them became religions, but prior to that, they were all pagan, because pagan actually just means non-Christian. But all of them were polytheistic religions, meaning that they had gods for everything, you know, like the Egyptian gods, right? Or the Roman gods, or the Greek gods like Zeus and Hercules and Hades and Hermes Trismegistus. But you know what I'm saying? So like, can we just acknowledge that as soon as the Catholic Church created Christianity, 300 and supposedly, 300 years after Jesus supposedly died, which I think my information that I've been retaining tells me that the people who believed in Jesus during the period from when he died to when the church was adopted they were inside caves, and they were like underground secret societies that used psychedelic medicine and did fertility rituals so that the Christian religion could continue on and continue on and continue on, right? being an underground society because they were persecuted. Their God, their Messiah, their leader was just publicly assassinated. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. He was publicly assassinated too. Oh yeah, you didn't think I was going to make that reference. Did you see Candace Owens' podcast yesterday, bro? About the mic, the exploding mic? We talked earlier about the exploding pagers. You got to make the connections.
AD 100, an incredibly evil society emerges in Khazaria. Khazarians developed into a nation ruled by an evil king who had ancient Babylonian black arts, occult oligarchs serving as his court. His priests, okay, it's my opinion that his priest, the Khazarian priest, or excuse me, the Khazarian leader, his court priests, magic men, shaman, were likely Amalekites. That's my opinion, because it's the Amalekites that were honing and learning more and more about the phyla, the pharmacological chemicals that are within the plant kingdom, which again comes out of Esau, the man of the field. Okay, so the Amalekites are carrying this magic, this hallucinogenic magic, this plant magic, this spiritual magic, this evil magic, straight out of Khazaria, or straight into Khazaria from the Levant. There's magic going on at the high echelon of these societies. You see it in Pharaonic Egypt. You see it now in Khazaria, and it was also in Babylon when Talmudism was developed, and they're running on human sacrifice. This Babylonianism that is this dominator culture, war-oriented.
Wait. Babylonianism? You mean like Solomon's temple? Oh yeah, the first version of the third temple that they're trying to bring back in Israel right now. And Bibi Netanyahu basically said, I don't give a fuck if America's signing a peace deal. We're not leaving Lebanon. Weird. Oh, it's the Greater Israel Project. Do you know about it? Do you know about it? Yeah, they're not going to stop killing people, bro.
Consuming culture that is basically birthing these evil societies. Okay, that's the timeline. That's the magic that prevails through these groups. During this time, Khazarians become known to surrounding countries as thieves, murderers, road bandits, and for assuming the identities of those travelers they murdered as a normal occupational practice and way of life. And that's the key to know. Like I said earlier, this was a way of life. This is how Khazaria was birthed. This is how the Khazarians empowered themselves, was through these practices. And these are evil practices. They are using the inherent evil that is within nature. There's as much evil as there is good. They're using that, and they're fomenting, fostering, they're culturing this evil so that they can build their society to control and basically own the world. So continuing, in AD 800, an ultimatum is delivered by Russia. Now looking here at the map, you can see, there it is, the Russian principalities. You see that? The Russian principalities are right above Khazaria, and it's Khazaria who is pilfering and eating and using and taking and stealing all the people that go into this land. So there are people in Russia that leak down into Khazaria, and they also get pilfered, and this happens repeatedly, and Russia knows, and China knows, about what is going on with these people that are passing through this land and how evil it is, okay? Okay. So 800 years later, remember the trade routes open in 1 BC, 800, so 900 years later or AD 800, so 800 years later, an ultimatum is delivered by Russia. The leaders of the surrounding nations, especially Russia, have had so many years of complaints by their citizens that as a group they deliver an ultimatum to the Khazarian king. They send a communique to the Khazarian king that he must choose one of the 3 Abrahamic religions for his people and make it his official state religion and require all Khazarian citizens to practice it and socialize all Khazarian children to practice that faith. The Khazarian king was given a choice between Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. The Khazarian king chose Judaism and promised to stay within the requirements laid out by the surrounding confederacy of nations led by the Russian Tsar. Now, this is going to get critical to understanding how they've hidden themselves, and that they have hidden themselves underneath this guise called the Ashkenazi Jew. And they are not practicing Ashkenazi Jews. They are practicing Babylonianism, Talmudism. That's what they practice. That's the spirituality they practice. They have put an umbrella to be in secret, to remain in secret, that they're practicing Ashkenazi Jews, that they've taken on the Abrahamic Jewish faith. That's what they say.
Okay, we have to make this distinction. We have to make this distinction so the algorithm on all platforms can pick this up and not flag my video. The Khazarians are real. The Khazarian mafia is real. You like that play on words? But just because they have infiltrated part of a religion does not mean that every single person on the planet that is in that religion is part of the Khazarian mafia. So just because he says Ashkenazi Jew, Ashkenazi, I can't even ever say that word, Ashkenazi's Jew, doesn't mean that if you ever meet one that he's automatically in the Khazarian mafia. You don't know that. Take everybody with a grain of salt. We are all just humans trying to figure this out. Now, is there a Khazarian mafia? Yes, it is real. Okay? Sorry, I had to do that again.
What they're actually doing is practicing Satanism, but they're telling everyone and they're appearing to everyone that they're practicing one of the three Western religions. And again, look at the pattern. You see the same thing happen in the Catholic Church. They tell you that they're a Western religion that's embraced the idea of Jesus and forgiveness and sin and the remuneration of sin and so on and so forth. But underneath that umbrella is pure Satanism. Just like the tunnels that are underneath the Vatican, they were there long before there was the organized church. It's because these people were already practicing this down in the tunnels underneath the caverns, underneath the ground, because they have to remain in secret. They can't do these things out in the open. They have to do them in secret because they know if normal everyday folks that are not brainwashed with this Satan worship won't allow for it. They won't stand for it. People will stop it. So they know they have to hide it. Okay, so that's exactly what the Russian Tsar does. Okay, now looking here again at our map, you can see there the Russian principalities, they've given the warning, and this is what happens. Despite his agreement and promise, the Khazarian king and his inner circle of oligarchs kept practicing ancient Babylonian black magic, also known as secret Satanism. This Satanism involved occult ceremonies featuring child sacrifice after bleeding them out, drinking their blood. I put that in quotes because it's a literal statement. After bleeding them out, drinking their blood, and eating their hearts. The deep, dark secret of the occult ceremonies was that they were all based on ancient Baal worship, also known as worship of the owl. Now I'm going to...
Worship of the owl, which is what? The Bohemian Grove, right? We already did a deep dive on Bohemian Grove. That's why I got the fucking owl right here, bro. You guys can't necessarily see it. We're going to fix it up and change it around, but we already dived deep into Bohemian, bro. Give me just 1 second. I got to mute this. Sorry, I had to call my son upstairs. Tell him to put my dogs away, 'cause they're gonna go swimming with their grandma at the pool.
to begin to make a connection here for you. Now, worship of the owl. Have you all ever heard of a place called Bohemian Grove? It's a real place in Sonoma County. It's a real place. And it's a place where these people go to carry out fake sacrifices, because they obviously can't have real sacrifices there out in the open because it wouldn't be tolerated. And so they carry out fake sacrifices at this place as sort of a mock celebration of what they are doing, and it's a mockery of us. But what I wanted you to notice is, and to believe something as outlandish as what I've just told you, first of all, look at these pictures. So we have the owl, and we know owl to these people is Baal, Molech. This is Satan, okay? They're putting a costume over the god they're actually worshiping. So they're worshiping Satan, but they can't have a giant Satan in this public park. So they anthropomorphize Satan into an owl. And why do they use Satan as the owl symbol? Because the owl is silent. The owl hunts at night. The owl can see at night. The owl is able to fly without making any noise. Owls, I don't know if you know this, but owls have little tufts of down on the ends of their plumage, so that as they fly through the air, the sharp plumage that causes turbulence doesn't cause turbulence because of the little soft down-like feathers that are on the edges of these feathers. And so they literally can fly without making one sound because there's no turbulent noise that comes off of their wings. Okay, these people love these kind of ideas. This idea that they can deceive others by secretly passing through the night, through the unknown, and capture people.
This is the United States of America, believe it or not. No, I have no idea how to draw. But it doesn't matter. What I'm going to tell you is this. We know where all the rat lines are and where they go. What is a rat line? It's a trafficking line.
What is it, a rat?
Rat. This one actually splits. A rat line. Up the East Coast and up the Hudson River. There's actually 5 main trafficking lines. This one kind of goes mainly actually from Louisiana, Alabama, so 4 is like that. Right in here, there's another one that goes up. There's 5 trafficking lines in the United States, rat lines. What if I was to tell you something like this? I wasn't going to do this till Sunday. But what if I was to tell you that there is an attorney who has an office in Poughkeepsie, New York, and an office in Bellevue, Washington. Same attorney. And he's partnered with an attorney out of Bellevue and an attorney out of here. And what if I told you that out of this office, he created over 100 corporations to traffic children? I'm talking about entertainment companies that take pictures, lodging companies, short and long distance trucking companies, even an airline that's stationed at Boeing Field, offering companies. You have to have all elements of trafficking. So you have to have transportation, logistics, offerings, okay? 5x5 entertainment, Wild Child Entertainment. Corporations like that, he's set up. What if I told you he set them up under mostly aliases names, but we have the real names too? What if I told you he set them up for people who are police officers, county commissioners, and judges?
I'd believe it.
Okay.
I read Franklin cover up.
Now, what if I told you the same attorney in the state of New York owns 17 child protective services agencies in the state of New York? And he also owns 17 family courts. He owns the Spafford Center, which traffics children to Jerusalem and the United Kingdom. What if I told you I had pictures of 2 American boys with a Hezbollah boy over in Jerusalem carrying AK-47s, and one's 7 and one's 11, and I know where family they came from here in America?
Because
What if I told you in 1983 he bought a company from William Casey's law firm? The DOD guy's going to start scribbling here when I mention names. I'm serious. William Casey. Who was William Casey? He was the head of the OSS before it became a CIA. He was our first CIA director, and then he ran the SEC.
Securities and Exchange Commission?
Yes. And helped.
They're stacked deep.
Helped set up our whole birth certificate fraud thing. He also started the Spafford Center under a different name back in the 30s. And he died in 1975. And in 1983, this attorney bought it from Casey's law firm. It's a corporation sole. Does anybody know what a corporation sole is? It's a corporation that started so old that is grandfathered into under all laws. It's a powerful corporation. A corporation sole. It was owned by William Casey.
Wasn't Casey murdered? No.
I wish he was. Anyway, and he could take children out of New York City or any other county that he has one of his 17 agencies. He could show up at your house with a cop, kick in your door, his CPS agents take a kid, jump you through a bunch of parental hoops, terminate your parental rights through his own judges and his own guardian ad litems and his own, and he's licensed by the state to do business. He's protected under the commerce laws. He's sanctioned by the state. When you run his name of his family services companies on Google, they come up higher than the actual state of New York's family services in the search engines.
Because it's paying to have that.
So if you're going to turn somebody into CPS and you Google it, good chance you turn it into a guy who set up hundreds of pedophile companies.
Because they do protect each other.
Now, what do you think about that?
What I want you to notice is look at the age.
Damn. All right, we got about 3 hours in, bro. We went for about 3 hours today, bro. This documentary is 2.5 hours long. We're 44 minutes in. Chuck Swindell Jr., Nature Creature. Thank you, Chuck. We will be finishing and listening to this more tomorrow at the end of tomorrow's stream. Oh, man. How are y'all doing today? We dove into there. We went in there today, bro. I appreciate you guys for being here, bro. I appreciate all you guys for being here, bro. Thank you so much. Oh, let me get the hand heart. Oh. Who's still in here? I know it says there's people in here. It says there's 5 on YouTube. It says there's 7 on Twitch. It's all right. It's a Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? Oh, before we go, just before we go, if you want to help support the channel, dude, Tripoverdrip.shop. Get yourself some merch. If you live internationally, I don't necessarily, it might say sold out for you. It might say sold out for you because I don't have any shipping set up for international. But if you join the Discord, which I'm dropping in the chat right now, and DM me if you're interested in some merch, then we can work something out. We can work something out. You know what I mean? Tripoverdrip.shop. We got hoodies. We got stickers. We got tote bags. We got t-shirts, crew necks. Oh, Giggles, DM me, bro. Sorry. DM me. I love you guys. Peace out.